A useless young master who doesn't even dare to fight a chicken. Yet his doorstep is filled with the kneeling leaders of countless races. Even the god kings serve you tea and water. All because you were struck by lightning right after you stepped out 5 years ago. And the moment you open your eyes and awaken, you see hundreds of thousands of alien troops swarming below the city. At this moment, outside the Celestial Treasure Fortress, a massive army of aliens surges like the tide. Endless, stretching beyond sight. They are the Advance Guard, the Crimson Blade clan. They're 3 meters tall. Their bodies are covered with dark red scales. Their forearms grow natural bone blades. They're looking at the humans on the city wall with a mocking, predatory gaze, staring at them with greedy eyes. In these monsters' eyes, humans are nothing but domesticated pets. And today is their harvest day. Boom! A gigantic beast the size of a small mountain crashes fiercely into the city barrier. The energy shield trembles violently, cracking into countless, terrifying spiderweb fissures. On the city wall stands a thin young man in gray, Lu Chun, clenching his fists tightly, staring below the city.
He's the only son of the fortress's Grand Commander.
But everyone knows him as a notorious loser. When he was 3 years old, a mysterious, sinister power appeared inside his body, sealing off his vital meridians completely. For a full 15 years, he couldn't even reach the lowest awakening rank, enduring scorn and ridicule from all. Move aside, move aside. Useless young master. Don't get in the way here. A few battered city guards rushed past, carrying the wounded. Their looks toward Lu Chun were filled with undisguised contempt. Lu Chun didn't talk back. He just stared intently, directly below the city gate. That's where his father stood, the Celestial Grand Commander Lu Zhangquang. Lu Zhangquang wore heavy black iron armor, holding a battle-worn blade. He didn't turn to look at Lu Chun. He only raised his head to look at the trembling city barrier. The shield can hold on for no more than 15 minutes. Once the gate is breached, all 300,000 elderly, women, and children in Celestial Fortress will become a feast for the aliens. Brothers of Celestial Fortress, we humans would rather die standing than live kneeling. Vanguard, leave the city with me. As soon as he finished speaking, the city gates thundered open. 3,000 celestial warriors, ready to lay down their lives, let out mournful roars, like a tragic flood, rushed fearlessly into the alien army, hundreds of thousands strong. At the same time, Lu Chun's eyes immediately filled with tears on the city wall, for that's his dad, the only man in this fortress, who ever saw him as a source of pride. And, in the center of the alien army, sat a commander atop a giant white-boned beast. Chichu let out a cruel, cold laugh. He possessed terrifying peak-level power. Watching these humans, none of whom even reached the star refinement rank, saw the vanguard as desperate moths flying into flame. Rip them to shreds. Cripple that leader right away. We'll use him as a snack with our drinks. With Chichu's command, the alien army surged forward. This wasn't a battle at all, but a one-sided massacre without suspense. In just an instant, more than half of the 3,000 vanguard fell. Their Star Source weapons they were so proud of struck against the Crimson Blade clan's scales, not even leaving a white mark. Father? Lu Chun shouted hoarsely at the edge of the wall. Smack in the middle of the battlefield, Lu Zhangquang had already wrecked 3 blades. His left arm was badly injured. Yet Lu Zhangquang still stood firm before the gates, like an unbreakable monument. Holding out well, aren't you? Chichu licked his lips, a flash of brutality in his eyes. Then Chichu suddenly leaped from the ancient beast's back, his whole body becoming a flash of red lightning, instantly tearing across the battlefield, appearing before Lu Zhangquang. Die, old man. With a sickening, piercing sound, the half-meter-long arm blade pierced straight through Lu Zhangquang's iron armor, jutting out his back. In that very instant, time itself seemed to stop. Lu Zhangquang's body froze. He turned his head with difficulty, looking through a gap in the city wall, gazing at the scrawny Lu Chun. In Lu Zhangquang's clouded eyes, there was no fear of death, only deep guilt and reluctance. Chun, live on. Moments later, Chichu grinned savagely, pulling his blade free, then kicked Lu Zhangquang's body over 10 meters away, stepping on him like a discarded rag. On the city wall, Grand Commander. Countless soldiers screamed, their eyes bloodshot. Their cries shook the skies. Yet Lu Chan grew calm instead. Strangely calm. Lu Chan didn't even cry. Instead, his once clear eyes quickly turned red in a way unimaginable, until they became a pure, utter black. Because deep in his heart, the thing that troubled him for 18 years, the source of why he was called useless for 18 years, the ninefold lock binding his bloodline and soul, felt his overwhelming grief and rage strong enough to shake the stars. Snap. A sharp crack only he could hear exploded suddenly inside his body, as if some ancient, terrifying force had just opened its eyes. Next came a second crack, and a third boom. The seal that lasted 18 years was utterly shattered by despair and wrath. In an instant, a power not of this era, not of this universe, erupted from Lu Chan's frail body. Even the space around him began to warp madly, even the blood-red sky above the celestial fortress, in that moment, was torn open by some unimaginable might. Then all went dark. A sigh echoing from eons past thundered in Lu Chan's mind. In this life, I will walk the bright path, accompanied by roaring thunder. The clouds churned. The Crimson Blade army so arrogant seconds ago, and their mounts, all suddenly wailed as one. It was a soul-deep suppression from their very blood, leaving them collapsing in fear, shaking on the ground. What's happening? Chichu, standing on Lu Jianquang's corpse, jerked his head up. His peak-level instincts made every one of Chichu's scales stand on end. A never-before-felt sense of crisis engulfed him. At that moment, Lu Chan bowed his head on the wall. His body, once so weak from being unable to train, now crackled like roasting beans as his bones popped. As the first lock shattered, vast memories strong enough to shatter galaxies crashed into Lu Chan's mind like a tsunami. The primeval era, twilight of the gods, heavenly sword formation, annihilated 100,000 star realms. The lotus of creation, suppressed endless chaos in eons past. He wasn't just Lu Chen. He was once the Grandmaster of Taixuan who swept through the heavens. At the same time, deep in Lu Chen's mind, an ancient parchment glimmering with starlight slowly unfolded, devouring star remnant scroll. So I am Sikyu Wuji, and also Lu Chen. Having understood everything, Lu Chen slowly lifted his head. The once youthful face of an 18-year-old boy, at this moment, now radiated an extreme coldness, as if seeing all things as ants. No more words, nor any hesitation. Lu Chen leapt up. He jumped straight off the 100-meter city wall. Lu Chen, are you crazy? On the city wall, the guards of Tianyuan Fortress screamed in terror. Without star essence protection, jumping down from such a height, and landing in the midst of the monster horde, not even his remains would be left. The useless young lord just couldn't take the shock, and decided to end it all. Some people closed their eyes in despair. Whoosh, the gale howled past Lu Chen's ears. However, below, the scarlet hair watched Lu Chen plummet straight down. First, it was stunned, then burst out in a harsh, manic laugh. The old guy just left, and now the kid jumps down on his own. Come to serve Grandpa an extra meal? The scarlet hair suddenly exploded with force in its legs, shattering the ground beneath it. The whole creature shot up like a cannonball. It raised its arm blade, ready to cut Lu Chen in half mid-air. 10 meters, 5 meters, 3. At the critical moment, at the very instant when Scarlet Hair's sinister grin filled Lu Chen's field of view, Lu Chen moved no burst of star essence light, no complicated flourish. He just casually raised his right hand. Index and middle fingers pressed together, forming a strange sword seal.
Taijuan sword art first form.
Lu Chen's lips parted slightly, uttering a few cold words, severing the mundane. No earth-shattering explosion, only an extremely faint sword cry. But in the senses of the hundreds of thousands present, time itself seemed forcibly cut off for a second. A power pure to the extreme, bearing no trace of impurity, of Dao rhythms, poured from Lu Chen's fingertips. This power completely surpassed all understanding of the current star essence system. It was unreasonable, ignored defenses, and completely disregarded the gap in cultivation. Scarlet Hair's manic smile instantly froze. His pride, his pursuit of further mastery, star essence shield, under Lu Chen's nonchalant finger, was like snow left under a blazing sun. instantly vaporized without a sound.
No, this can't be real. What kind of monster are you?
Scarlet Hair's pupils shrank violently. It was the most terrifying despair he's ever felt in his life. He desperately tried to twist his body to dodge, but the surrounding space was already completely sealed by Lu Chun's mysterious sword intent. A razor-thin white flash swept by. In the blink of an eye, Lu Chun gracefully landed. Not even a speck of dust was disturbed. And up in midair behind him, the massive, tower-like body of Scarlet Hair suddenly bore a perfectly straight crimson line down the middle. With a dull thud, the alien warlord at the peak of mastery didn't even have time to scream. His body was instantly sliced clean in two. The falling fragments crashed heavily to the ground. Silence filled the field. The city wall guards gaped in shock, even forgetting to breathe. That young master ridiculed for 18 years by the whole city. The so-called useless heir. Actually, one shot killed the peak alien commander. The horde outside the city looked like they'd seen a ghost. Hundreds of thousands of soldiers fell deadly silent. Even the war beasts dared not make a sound. That's just how weak the current star essence system is. Lu Chun didn't even glance at the corpse on the ground. At the very moment he vanquished Scarlet Hair, the devouring star remnant scroll in Lu Chun's mind burst out with blinding light. A visible blood-red mass of energy was forcibly extracted from the remains. Like rivers pouring into the sea, it surged into Lu Chun's palm. Detected, myriad-legged star origin, blood shadow extreme speed, innate skill. Triggering now, Taizhuan Dao luck. Analyzing. Deprivation successful. Innate skill transferred into Taizhuan Dao law. Space folding step. Entry level. Boom. Lu Chun's once depleted Danshan was suddenly flooded with a torrent of spiritual power.
His realm
Started soaring at a pace that defied logic. Awakening level 1. Awakening level 5. Awakening. Peak star refinement stage. Not only making up for 18 years of loss, he even immediately forged his first star refinement. As long as he fights to improve.
He can keep seizing myriad Daos to complete himself.
Bye. Lu Chen slowly withdrew his hand, feeling the long-lost power to control everything within him. Then he walked over to his father's body, took off his own gray robe, and gently covered it up. Rest, Dad. Leave the rest to me. After that, Lu Chun stood up, turned to gaze outside the city, at the monstrous horde like a sea of black, faced with these hundreds of thousands. Monsters easily capable of crushing Tianyuan Fortress. Lu Chun's eyes showed not a hint of fear. Instead, the wild madness and greed from his previous life that once swept through the god realm ignited again. Lu Chun looked out across the swarming multiracial army outside the city. The hunt begins. Commander Redlead was gone in a single move. That human ant, who had no heart energy wave at all, took out Lord Scarlet Hair in one blow. At this moment, outside the city, the Blade Clan army fell into utter silence. Hundreds of thousands of savage eyes glared intensely, revealing for the first time a look called fear. However, a 5-meter tall alien lieutenant covered in dark golden scales suddenly snapped back to his senses. As a peak new refinement stage warrior, he raised his massive battle axe, pointed it at you, and roared madly. Illusion! This has to be a trick! He's only one man. Push the army forward. Cripple him for me. Whoever brings him down will be richly rewarded. The aliens exploded into action again. Thousands of elite soldiers charged in like bloodthirsty piranhas, roaring as they lunged at you. A wild star essence net of light instantly blocked all your ways of retreat. At the same time, the defending soldiers on the city wall were on edge. Young master, get out of the way. Fire the star essence cannon! Cover him! The veteran soldiers shouted frantically. But you would never guess, facing the tidal wave of thousands charging at you, you didn't even bat an eyelid. Then you calmly lifted your right foot and stepped forward in the mud. Taizhuan step. Space folding step. Just as your foot hit the ground, space twisted violently, right under thousands of staring eyes. Your figure vanished into thin air. Ah! The lieutenant at the front saw his pupils contract sharply, a chill rushing up his spine. Are you looking for me? A cold voice suddenly rang right in his ear. All the scales on the lieutenant's body stood on end, and he whipped his head around, coming straight at you. Is your fair, slender hand? No waves of emotion in your heart. Only a terrifying aura as heavy as a mountain. The talent you just seized, combined with the power of Supreme Tao, makes your speed completely shatter the physical limits of reality. Your palm, like the sharpest divine weapon, pierces through his prideful dark gold scales without resistance, grabbing hold of his vital point. The lieutenant's eyes widened, his face full of disbelief. Damn, you clench your 5 fingers abruptly. Boom! The lieutenant at the peak of the new refinement realm, instantly eliminated. His massive body, over 5 meters tall, crashed to the ground. Detected 10,000 race Star-Lord talent, dark gold tyrant body. Seizure successful? Transformed into Supreme Tao's undying golden body. Incomplete. Boom. As the lieutenant is completely dead, another surge of pure Star-Lord power is forcibly extracted and rushes back into your body. On your skin's surface, a layer of dark gold Tao patterns instantly appears. The cultivation you had just upon entering the awakened realm now soars like a rocket. Awakened realm, stage 6 peak. Starlit realm, stage 1. Too slow. You feel the surging power. With an insane gleam in your pitch-black eyes, you lift your head, facing tens of thousands of alien soldiers around you, and crack a chilling, creepy smile. All of you are my nourishment. Just as you finish your sentence, you charge into the massive army on your own. This isn't even a battle, but a one-sided, completely unequal invasion. You are like a savage beast, not retreating, dodging, or defending. Spears thrust toward you, yet they shatter instantly against your undying golden body. Battle axes swing down, not only failing to injure you in the slightest, but break the attacker's arms instead. Every punch you throw releases terrifying energy. Fingers like swords. Your supreme sword aura sweeps out for dozens of meters, mowing down rows of monsters like harvesting wheat. Seizure successful. Gained Inferno Demon Flame. Transformed into the prototype of Samadhi True Fire. Seizure successful. Gained Berserk. Transformed into Supreme Tao's Innate Blood Extinction. In no time at all, debris covers everywhere you go, while the energy inside you is rampaging out of control at a despairing speed. New Refinement Realm, Stage 2, 5, 9 Boom. When you smash the 800th alien commander with your palm, the star chain within you solidifies completely, transforming into a dazzling star core, hanging in your danshin. Just half a stick of incense passes at most, and you've gone from being a useless loser unable to gather energy, to dominating your way into the elixir realm. Right now, all the defenders on the city walls are in shock. With a thud, an old soldier's knees give out, and he stiffly kneels on the ground. His warblade clangs to the earth. He stares in a daze at your godlike back, tears streaming down his face. That's not human martial arts. Young master, he's a god come down to earth. In a blink, regardless of gender or age, everyone is staring at your slim figure with fervent, almost fanatical eyes, as if looking at a god. One person holds a city. One person defeats 100,000 troops. A monster! He's a monster! Run, finally. The alien army is utterly shattered, even though cruelty runs in their veins. When faced with someone who only gets stronger and just won't die, and fights with such brutality as you, the terror buried deep in their genes is fully awakened. Defeat is as sudden as a landslide. Hundreds of thousands flee in panic, like stray dogs, trampling each other to death, even outnumbering those you've cleared by hand. You don't pursue, slowly drawing your hand back. The faint golden glow on your skin gradually fades. 18 years of depletion are not only repaid, but now you've rebuilt a flawless Supreme Tai Fist foundation. The breeze barely stirs with your Tao movement. Standing atop a pile of remains, you look coldly up at the shattered sky. There, the clouds are being violently torn apart, as a warship thousands of meters long,
Gleaming with cold metallic light, emerges from the stars.
It slowly breaks through the clouds. A massive cross-shaped insignia on the prow blots out the sky. You squint your eyes. The last hope of humanity. The sanctuary of truth, huh? Meanwhile, a giant shadow covers the whole fortress from the sky. The sanctuary's main battleship, the Judgment. floats above the clouds. Inside the bridge, the air is so tense it's stifling. Report, Mentor Su has arrived at the coordinates. The communications officer's voice quivers as he stares at the blood-purple energy. Reaction on radar. Radar shows 10,000 level alien activity previously detected below. The city's shield is over 90% destroyed. Standing before the command platform is an absolutely stunning woman in a white robe. Su Qing'an, the sanctuary's youngest female mentor, a peak powerhouse in the early throne realm. Are we too late? Su Qing'an's beautiful face flashes with pain. Prepare to airdrop high explosive incendiary bombs. Let those 100,000 aliens evolve along with them. We can't let our people's remains become their food. At the critical moment, the operator is about to press the button. Wait, Mentor. Please look at the images below. The observer screams as if they'd seen a ghost. Su Qing'an abruptly looks at the screen with wide eyes. In that instant, everyone in the command room gasps. A deathly silence falls across the room. No city destroyed, no massacre, no alien celebration. The screen shows ruins stretching for miles. The 100,000-strong army looks like it's been ground down by a giant meat grinder, piled up like mountains. At the highest point, there you are in blood-stained gray clothes, hands behind your back, staring with chilling calm at the warship in the sky. All alone, like an ancient god of slaughter. Who did this? The communications officer's legs have gone weak in fear. A god has come down to earth. No, it's him. Su Qing'an locks onto your figure with a throne-level perception. He senses the lingering spiritual energy on you. Not even a void stage cultivator could sweep away 100,000 troops alone. On his usually icy face, an unprecedented shock appears. Open the hatch. I want to go down myself. A beam of white light streaks down from the sky. Su Qing'an lands gracefully 10 meters in front of you, surrounded by a powerful Star-Lord field. He looks down from above, trying to find awe in your gaze. But he's disappointed. You barely glance at him, then turn to your father's body, carefully wiping dirt from his face. You're the survivor? Su Qing'an frowns, but his astonishment only grows more intense. Up close, he realizes you're only 18. An 18-year-old in the Elixir realm can sweep alien armies across levels. That's a total freak of nature. Come with me to the Sanctuary of Truth. Su Qing'an steps forward, his tone brooking no refusal. It's a waste for you to stay in this ruined place. The Sanctuary will devote all its resources to training you. You will become a new pillar of humanity. The Sanctuary at your movement. You smirk with mocking disdain. You lived thousands of years in your past life, and know all too well how these so-called righteous sects act. The city was besieged by aliens for 3 days. But your worship just now arrives? You slowly rise to your feet, your deep black eyes coldly fixed on him. If these people are humanity's pillars, you would have broken long ago under their support. How dare you? The accompanying deacons shout in rage. Mentor Su is a throne-level powerhouse. Accepting you into the sanctuary is the blessing of 8 lifetimes. You can't help but sneer. At this level, back in the primeval era, you wouldn't even qualify to carry my shoes. Just as you prepare to ignore this group and carry your father back to the cockpit, an unexpected change occurs. The vast Star-Lord energy you've just devoured inside you suddenly slams into an unseen barrier deep within your soul. Crack! The second acceleration layer is broken. The raging strength surging into the Elixir realm directly smashes through the sealed dam. Boom! A completely different, terrifying aura erupts from you like a volcano, exploding from deep within you. If you were a demon god before, now you're a true celestial. A blinding pillar of pure white light instantly tears through the darkness, shooting straight into the clouds. Within this white light, there is no raging Star-Lord aura, only ultimate holiness and absolute might. Behind you, there's even a faint phantom of a 12-winged angel. Though it's only for a split second, this projection was directly crushed and merged by the supreme Zhuan Dao rhyme within you. But just this trace of leaking aura struck Su Qing'an like a bolt of lightning, making her freeze in place instantly. That's the power of the radiant judgment. Su Qing'an's eyes went wide, her face full of shock. Her voice even broke. Radiant, stop! That's a secret force that was destroyed 1,000 years ago. Only the direct bloodline of those in power at the top could ever awaken such a heaven-defying power. Get the spirit testing stone quick. Su Qing'an completely lost her composure at the mention of the spirit testing stone. She jerked out a black crystal covered with runes. This is the highest holy relic of the Great Tang. It's said to measure the limits of all talents in the world. Place your hand on it. She rushed in front of you, staring at you intently, her brows slightly furrowed. She initially wanted to slap this woman away, but you were also curious to see if this worldly stone could measure your fate as a Taigu Dao master. You casually extended a finger and touched it. It was the instant your fingertip made contact. The golden stone erupted with a blinding red light, a top-tier talent. But that's not all. The next second, the red light turned to gold, a saint-level aptitude. Then, the golden light surged into the god-tier purple glow. The purple brilliance flashed wildly. The entire spirit stone trembled violently, cracks actually appearing on its surface. How is this possible? Even the highest sequence can't measure it. The stone is going to explode. Several stewards drew back in terror, crack under everyone's horrified gaze. The holy relic said to bear a divinity's fate exploded into pieces, turning into a pile of dust. The entire hall fell silent. Su Qing'an stared blankly at the dust on the ground. Her mind went completely blank. She jerked her head up to look, her gaze now as if she was staring at a forbidden monster that could overturn the laws of the universe at any moment. She took a deep breath, her voice trembling uncontrollably. Even the spirit stone can't see through your fate. Who are you, really? Crack, crash. The spirit stone dust scattered in the wind across the ground. Su Qing'an stared fiercely at you. Even the pressure of a king-throne realm fluctuated wildly from the shock. Yet, you just casually flicked the dust from your fingertips. At the exact moment the spirit stone exploded, you sharply shoved the surging Supreme Zhuan Meridian River inside you, and the newly awakened radiant bloodline, deep into the Taixu gold core in your Danshan. After all, the current world's star source system simply can't comprehend the mystery of the Taigu Dao. Immediately, to keep up the act, you forced out a mouthful of fresh blood, and your face instantly turned deathly pale, your whole body about to collapse. Right now, your aura, in everyone's eyes, was like a deflated balloon, dropping straight to rock bottom. Not even a trace of mind force left. Completely an ordinary human now. Your cultivation. Su Qing'an was shocked. She hurried over. A gentle star source scanned into your body. The next second, a complex regret flickered in her eyes. Your meridians were blasted and dried up. Your star source completely dissipated. So that's how it is. Su Qing'an took a deep breath. A bitter expression appeared on her icy face. You were a rare god-level destiny. But this happened because to save Tianyuan Bao, you sacrificed all your potential and forcibly exchanged it for a brief medicinal power boost. As soon as she finished, the nearby stewards seemed to suddenly understand and followed with open mockery. Scared the hell out of me. I thought we had a heaven-defying genius here. Turns out it's just a useless fool burning up his life for a flashy show. What a waste of god-level fate. Now he's not even as good as a dog. Even as they sneered at you, you kept your eyes cast down. But mocking laughter flashed deep in your eyes. Looking back now, what do these ignorant frogs know? Not even an ancient god king could see through your true face. But this is exactly what you wanted. The tallest tree in the forest is the first to be destroyed. Playing the cripple is not just the best protection, but the perfect bait for catching big fish. Instructor Su, can you bring my father's body back to Tang? You raise your head, your voice just the right amount of weak. Su Qing'an looked at you, feeling a sudden sharp pain in her heart. All right, I'll take you. As long as I'm still in the sanctuary, I swear I won't let a hero bleed and weep again. 2 hours later, the warship slowly docked at the new harbor of the Sanctuary of Truth. This steel planet was built with everything humanity had. You stood on the deck, looking down at this miracle against the new wind. But through your Taixuan eyes that see through eternity, what lay before you sparked a killing intent that swept the skies. A replica of the Zhou Tian Star River formation, quite interesting. Your gaze grew sharp, piercing through layers of fog in an instant. But this seemingly flawless super shield, at the junction of the gate of life and gate of death, its star source flow, was extremely clumsy. Someone had forcibly stripped out a piece of the formation's core. This was a deliberate act by those at the top, who purposely made a hole in the Sect's grand formation. If the enemy wants to, they can let the alien armies invade at any time. No wonder Chen Yuanbao's cry for help was suppressed for 3 days. And reinforcements arrived so late. Your lips curled into a cold, cruel smile. There are traitors high up, at a level that's terrifying. Since there are rats gnawing at humanity's foundations in the dark, you'll use this crippled shell to stomp every maggot out from the sewers. Soon after, outer gate freshman registration, Tang. Instructor Su, you're putting me in a tough spot. The chubby steward in charge of registration glanced at you with complete contempt, seeing no star source aura, looking thoroughly annoyed. Tang's rules are strict. You can't take the test below awakening level 6. This kid is just an ordinary person. If you let him in, who will take responsibility if something happens? Rules are dead, but people are alive. Su Qing'an glared coldly at the steward. Her king throne pressure crashed down.
His father died for Chen Yuanbao.
He's the orphan of a martyr. I'm using my instructor's privilege to secure this spot. Cold sweat broke out on the fat steward's forehead. He nodded repeatedly. Yes, since you insist. Let him try the soul suppression tower then. Only then did Su Qing'an withdraw her pressure and look back, her tone a little gentler. The soul suppression tower tests willpower. You don't need a star source. Just do your best. As long as you pass the first level, I can officially keep you as a student. You nodded lightly, not replying, but as soon as she left, the fat steward's fawning face instantly turned gloomy. He hid in a corner and took out a communication talisman. Lowering his voice, Elder Su Qing'an just pushed Lu Jiangquang's useless son into the test. In the command mansion, there was silence for a moment. Then a hoarse, sinister voice replied, "No loose ends wipe them all out. Back then, his father uncovered something he shouldn't have. So I sent him to the front lines as cannon fodder. Since the kid has such great luck, then he absolutely can't be allowed to enter the inner sect. Let's tamper with the Divine Suppression Tower's platform. Make sure he can't get out." The fat steward let out a cold laugh. "Don't worry. I guarantee he won't last even 3 seconds in the tower. He'll be crushed into mush." From the shadows, he looked at you as if you were some nobody. Right after, in the central plaza, a 9-story ancient tower forged from black gold soared into the clouds. This is the key location for the freshman trials, the Divine Suppression Tower. Rumor has it, a remnant soul of a clan god is sealed inside the tower. The higher-ups claim it's to refine disciples with godly power. Honestly speaking, it's nothing but slavish worship of some so-called great deity. At this moment on the plaza, thousands of geniuses from various star realms have already gathered. Look, that's the Divine Suppression Tower. On the first floor, lasting a stick of incense means you pass. If you make it to the 3rd floor, you're definitely a genius. HMPH. I'm at Tier 9 Real Awakening Realm. My goal is the 5th floor. Voices discussing flared up everywhere. Amid these young warriors overflowing with vigor, the one with no soul fluctuations stuck out like a sore thumb. Hey, where did this guy come from? A common beggar? Get out of here. A young man in fancy clothes, full of disgust, shoved you. But you didn't move an inch? Instead, that Tier 8 Awakening Realm youth felt like he was pushing against divine iron. The terrifying recoil shattered his wrist. "Ah, my hand." The fancy youth screamed and collapsed. The surrounding freshmen gasped as they watched, staring at you like you were a monster. Silence fell as the fat steward walked onto the platform. He barked coldly. He swept the crowd from above. His gaze lingered on you for a second. A sinister smile curled at the corner of his mouth. The rules are simple. The pressure inside doubles with each floor. If your jade token glows, you're out. Right then,
His hand beneath his robe
quietly crushed a hidden formation crystal. Boom! The doors of the Divine Suppression Tower swung wide open. The trial begins. Everyone, inside the tower. Thousands of freshmen surged in, and you remained indifferent. The last to enter the darkness. The moment you crossed the threshold, a full-faced smile blossomed on the fat steward's face. Kid, I made sure you get the highest level godly pressure all to yourself. Even prodigies would explode instantly if they went in. Guess you can blame your dad for offending the wrong people. Meanwhile, as soon as you set foot on the first floor, the surrounding space instantly became thick and sticky. Thump, thump. Screams roared from all sides. The freshmen who bragged a moment ago now looked like their backs were crushed by a mountain, kneeling down in droves. So this is godly pressure? It's terrifying. Yet, in all the wailing, you alone calmly stood in place. You didn't use any resistance. You didn't even furrow your brow. Because in your perception, this so-called ultimate pressure is as weak as a baby's breath, refining with divine might. Absolutely absurd. You lifted your head, feeling the scorn hidden in the pressure. The cold in your eyes instantly turned into lethal intent. Humans never lose. We bow to neither heaven nor earth. Since when did these freaks have the nerve to show off on our turf as gods? Since they delivered themselves, I'll gladly accept. You slowly close your eyes. The Taixu golden core in your dantian shuddered fiercely. The faint mind manual, like an awakened gluttonous beast, opened a terrifying black hole inside you. The first floor's space twisted violently. The godly pressure meant to oppress freshmen now screamed in terror like it met its nemesis. It crazily poured straight into your body. Ding, pseudo-divine will detected. Analysis complete. Transforming into primordial divine consciousness, accompanied by the influx of massive spiritual power. The third shackles within you shattered completely at this moment. The first two unlocked were your body and mind, but this third one unlocked is the Supreme Tao Lord, the supreme soul power that once made gods and demons of all realms stand in awe. But an invisible storm erupts around you. Outwardly, your cultivation hasn't advanced, but your divine sense instantly surpassed the medicine essence realm, directly skyrocketing to a level that even void realm experts would despair over. Still not enough, too little. You open your eyes, completely ignoring the terrified new students around you, directly striding toward the second floor. First floor drained, second floor drained, fifth floor, eighth floor. Meanwhile, plaza outside the tower, the fat steward's teacup shatters with a loud crack.
He stares at the light screen as if he's seen a ghost.
Only to see a previously dim red dot, rapidly rising at a speed considered impossible by common sense. How is that possible? I clearly activated the dead-end formation. Not only was he not crushed, he even surged up to the 8th floor. The fat steward's flabby body trembles wildly. Cold sweat instantly soaks his clothes. Immediately, the plaza erupts with shocked cries. Look, someone reached the 9th floor. Su Qing'an, secretly observing in midair, is also utterly shocked, eyes full of disbelief. 9 floors. Even elders wouldn't dare enter lightly. It's the forbidden God zone, just as everyone is beyond stunned. You're already standing on the 9th floor of the God-suppressing tower. In this highest void space, a giant statue stands, 100 meters tall, with 4 wings on its back, radiating an intimidating divine force that makes people want to kneel in submission. Lowly humans, kneel and offer your faith. A seductive voice echoes through the space. Make me kneel? You slowly walk to the base of the statue. Though you look tiny as an ant before the 100-meter statue, you slowly raise your head. Instantly, a Tao aura hundreds of times more terrifying than this god's bursts from within you, explodes from your body. The entire 9th floor shatters like glass. You clench your right fist tightly. The power of the supreme golden core, mixed with recently awakened primordial divine consciousness, transforms into a dazzling stream of light. Thrown as a punch. You trash. Are you even worthy of the incense of our human race? Rumble thunder. As tens of thousands stare in horror, the supposedly indestructible God-suppressing tower suddenly erupts with an earth-shattering boom from the top.
Then,
the top of the tower is violently blasted off. A massive statue, head the size of a house, falls from the sky, slams into the plaza's center, barely 3 feet from the fat steward. The ground trembles. Dust soars up. The once lofty face is completely disfigured by your punch. The whole crowd falls silent. Whether they're supervisors or genius freshmen, everyone seems like their throat is gripped. Unable to make a sound, the breeze blows away the dust, only to see you striding out calmly from the shattered tower entrance. Ignoring everyone's shocked, ghost-like stares, casually brush dust off your clothes. Step on the head of the fake god. A cold, resolute voice resounds through the clouds. Such a false god is not worthy of our human race's incense. Your calm yet wildly arrogant voice, like a thunderclap, echoes thunderously across the wide central plaza. In an instant, the entire place falls into a grave-like silence. Thousands of freshmen who previously mocked you are now jaw-dropped in shock. Even more exaggerated, that richly dressed youth whose wrist you broke, so scared he failed to even scream. His legs go weak. He collapses to the ground. At that moment, the fat steward, first to react, stares at the giant statue head by his feet, his fat body trembling non-stop. He points at you, his voice sharp and shrill from sheer terror. You lunatic! What did you do? That is the Grand Formation. The core is a god worshipped by the hall. Clearly, you're a useless nobody. Yet you dare destroy the sacred relic. Are you trying to doom us all? Guards, apprehend this infiltrator. His roar is hoarse and desperate, trying to pin the blame firmly on you. But you simply turn your head slowly. Your deep, dark eyes coldly lock onto that old dog. Not a word, not even charging up. Next moment, you casually slap him from a distance.
Damn.
A crisp slap resounds suddenly in the plaza, but you would never expect. Before all those terrified eyes, that fat steward at the peak of the new refining realm didn't even manage a scream. It's like he was hit head-on by a mountain. A dull bang.
His fat body
Explodes midair into a cloud of red mist. Wiped out completely. Right-click insta-kill. Everyone gasps in shock. All scramble back in terror, looking at you, totally as if facing a death god, without even a ripple of spiritual energy. A slap from a distance connects with his brow. Peak of heart refining realm. What kind of monstrous body technique is this? Wanton outrage unforeseen. High up in the heavens, suddenly a furious roar erupts. Thunder rumbles. The once clear sky is instantly shrouded in dark clouds. An oppressive, suffocating force crashes down onto the plaza like judgment from above. Thud, thud. Under this pressure, thousands of freshmen can't resist at all. Whole groups fall to their knees. Even their breathing stops. The void is violently torn apart by a pair of hands. A white-haired elder in a purple-gold robe steps down slowly through the void. It's Elder Ji Wudao. Su Qing'an's face changes dramatically in the distance. Exclaims in shock. Ji Wudao is truly the elder of the Truth Hall. A peerless expert at the peak of the Void Realm, second only to the hall leader. At this moment, Ji Wudao overlooks the muddled crowd from above, his eyes full of chilling coldness. What a little fiend. Infiltrate the hall. Destroy my sacred relic. Kill my steward elder. If I don't flay you alive today, how can I appease the masses? He gives no one a chance to speak. With a wave of his hand, the vast star power of the Void Realm transforms into a gigantic purple hand covering the sky, radiating an aura of total destruction. Moves to slap you down. Great Elder, he doesn't have star power. This is a misunderstanding. At the critical moment, Su Qing'an grits her silver teeth, explodes with her throne realm cultivation, transforms into a sword aura of frost, tries to block the giant hand. You dare shelter a traitor. Out of the way! Ji Wudao snorts coldly. Doesn't even look. Pressure surges once again. Su Qing'an's sword aura shattered in an instant. He was knocked back dozens of steps. A trace of blood appeared at the corner of his mouth. The gap in cultivation is like an insurmountable chasm. In the blink of an eye, a massive purple hand descended with the power to crush everything. It was already looming over your head. The violent wind whipped your tattered gray clothes, making them flutter loudly. Traitor, faced with this terrifying attack that could flatten mountains, you didn't even dodge. Instead, you let out an extremely disdainful cold laugh. I was just thinking how to drag this rat out, and you brought yourself right to me. As soon as you finished speaking, you suddenly raised your head boom, a pressure 100 times more terrifying than his void realm power. An unparalleled will that transcended dimensions erupted from within you without reservation. This is the ancient divine sense you just unsealed. It may not have physical destructive power, but it's an absolute soul-crushing attack. Crack, crack. Under everyone's startled gaze, that massive purple hand stopped 3 feet above your head, as if it hit an invisible wall of force. It fractured inch by inch, dispersing into a rain of light. This can't be. In midair, Ji Wudao's pupils constricted fiercely.
He only felt a terrifying will.
Instantly lock his soul. In the face of this power,
He, a pinnacle void realm master.
felt as weak as a newborn baby. Old dog, didn't you like to frame people? A hint of darkness flashed in your eyes. You slowly raised your right hand, fingers outstretched. Across 100 meters of emptiness, you aimed at him from afar. Taixuan Dao Soul Search. Buzz, a piercing hum echoed throughout the world. Ji Wudao didn't even have the urge to resist. Suddenly felt an invisible giant hand pierce into his mind, grabbing firmly onto the origin of his soul. Ah! A shrill scream erupted from the elder's mouth. He convulsed, crashing heavily to the square from midair, rolling on the ground like a madman. What's wrong with the Grand Elder? That cripple wiped out the Grand Elder with one move. The entire crowd erupted in frenzy. Su Qing'an uncovered her red lips in shock. Her mind completely froze. Everyone, watch carefully. This is the true traitor to humanity. Your gaze was icy cold. You pulled upward with your 5 fingers.
Tear.
Ji Wudao's most shameful memories were ripped out by you ruthless, transformed directly into a gigantic kilometer-long holographic projection, clearly displayed across the sky. In the scene, Ji Wudao was kneeling at the feet of several glowing, golden foreign deities, obsequiously handing over a deployment map. Honorable Son of God, this is the defense map of Tianyuan Treasure. Lu Jiangquang, the stubborn one, has already been sent to the front lines by my design. The protective formation of the Temple of Truth. I have already drawn out a part of its core, ready to open its doors for you at any time. Only requesting that when the divine race arrives, grant me the position of divine servant. The image quality was crystal clear. Even every wrinkle on his groveling face could be seen distinctly. Instantly, the whole place fell dead silent. Then came sky-shattering rage. The Grand Elder is actually a mole. What a beast. The 30,000 people of Tianyuan Treasure suffered because he sold them out. Clean house. The crowd went wild. Even his disciples who once feared him had eyes blazing red now. No, that's an illusion. It's a forgery. Ji Wudao lay sprawled on the ground, screaming in despair. He just couldn't comprehend his flawless plans. How could his secrets be revealed so publicly? You walked slowly up to him, looking down at this old dog from above. There was no anger in your eyes, only cold indifference, as if he were trash. In my past life, I eliminated 100,000 traitors. People like you don't even qualify to make me angry. Next, you slowly lifted your right foot. The primordial divine stone completely suppressed all his resistance. The backbone of the human race has bent. I'll straighten each and every one for you. Old dog, let me borrow your head for a moment. Your foot carried the force to shatter stars, and stomped down on his head with force. Lu Chan, how dare you touch me? The divine sun will never let you off. Overwhelmed by extreme terror, Ji Wudao let out his final scream. Right in that flash of a moment, he used up the last bit of his strength, and fiercely bit through the golden jade talisman hidden between his teeth. Crunch, the talisman shattered, and your foot stomped down without any hindrance. With a sickening pop, it was like smashing a rotten watermelon. A dignified elder at the Void Realm didn't even leave a complete last word, disintegrated into ashes in an instant. The Grand Elder was wiped out by a single stomp. Disciples around swallowed nervously. Though the traitor deserved it, your effortless crushing of him like an ant still shook everyone's soul. Yet, you frowned slightly. You didn't even glance at the remains beneath your feet. Instead, you suddenly looked up at the heavens, because the moment the jade talisman broke, you sharply sensed the Star River formation covering Shangtong. That death gate whose source had been drained had completely collapsed. Booming thunder, a terrifying roar threatening to tear the universe apart, flooded down from above the 9 heavens. Even the old monsters in deep seclusion were shaken to the point of vomiting blood. Breakthrough spoiled. The sect-protecting formation has been shattered. Su Qing'an raised her head. Her stunningly beautiful face instantly turned pale. Her eyes were full of despair.
Emitter.
The blue screen of light shattered like pieces of glass. As the grand formation broke apart, a boundless and terrifying scene, the void sea was completely exposed before everyone. Right after came an indescribable extreme heat. The air in Shentang seemed to be ignited. Lake water instantly boiled and evaporated. Some low-ranked freshman's clothes caught fire without any flame. Screams echoed everywhere. "Oh my God, what is that?" Someone pointed at the fissure, crying in despair.
Inside the crack,
9 ancient divine birds, golden crows, burning with divine golden fire, slowly dragged a luxurious chariot out. Around the chariot, packed densely, stood over 1,000 heterogenic guards in dark gold armor. Each of them was at least at the Void Realm Lai. The Sun God clan, a just-awakened ancient relic, saw the tragedy and collapsed to his knees in terror, tears streaming down his face. That is one of the top 10 main forces among the god races. That's it, the last ember of humanity is going to be extinguished today.
despair,
Spread like a plague before the god race's main force. The Holy Hall of Truth is just a bigger ant nest. At that moment, all 9 golden crows on the chariot cried out together. A handsome man with golden wings slowly stood up. He was Jinling, the sun god's son. Jinling looked down arrogantly at those below. Inverted golden pupils were full of disdain for Ji Wudao, that useless person. Can't even handle such a small task. Now I have to descend to this filthy pigsty myself. He took out a handkerchief and covered his nose and mouth. But his voice sounded like a divine decree, blasting deep into everyone's soul. "Listen up, you inferior Julo. I'm not in a good mood today. Hand over 100,000 boys and girls as sacrifices immediately, and deliver the murderer who dealt with Ji Wudao. If the waste entertains me, I might show mercy and let you breathe for a few more years. Otherwise, not a blade of grass will be left today." No one survives. Bang over 1,000 god race guards stepped forward in unison. The terrifying pressure crushed a heavenly palace to powder. Tens of thousands of humans below were deathly silent. 100,000 boys and girls. They're trying to wipe out humanity. But how can we resist? We're facing the Sun God clan. Please calm your anger, Divine Sun. We'll hand over what you want. We are willing, please. A few terrified elders actually knelt and banged their heads on the ground. Shut up, you spineless cowards. We humans would rather die standing than live kneeling. Su Qing'an trembled with rage. She drew her sword. But as soon as her power erupted, she was forcibly suppressed by 3 god race guards. A mouthful of blood sprayed out, forced to half kneel on the ground. Seeing humans fighting each other, the angel burst into gleeful laughter. Amusing. Julo are always Julo. Self-slaughter is the best kind of show. He thoroughly enjoyed this feeling of dominating everything. However, amidst the cries of despair and wild laughter in the sky, within the crowd, your thin figure in gray stood out. Everyone around was forced to kneel. But you just scratched your ear. In your deep black eyes, a look of extreme impatience and violent intent emerged. Buzz, no grand display. No mental energy fluctuations either. Your body seemed utterly unrestrained by laws. Under everyone's stunned gaze, you slowly rose off the ground, hands clasped behind your back, facing the terrifying pressure of over 1,000 god race guards. You walked forward as if strolling, step by step towards the heavens. Who is that? Is it Lu Chen? Has he lost his mind? Under the incredulous stares of tens of thousands, and the angel's smile freezing, you rose until you were level with the chariot. Finally stopped. You ignored the 9 vicious birds, ignored the 1,000 guards drawing their blades, just looked at the arrogant Divine Sun like you were seeing trash, meeting his eyes at the same level. Then you slowly spoke, your indifferent voice, but carried a pressure that made the entire Void Sea stand at attention. "Hey, you're getting on my nerves." Your tone was calm with not a trace of starlight energy, yet it felt like a blast of wind from ancient glaciers, instantly freezing the atmosphere. The entire place was dead silent. Tens of thousands of humans, along with the high and mighty god race guards, all seemed immobilized by magic, frozen in place. Su Qing'an's beautiful eyes went wide. She even stopped breathing. That was the sun godson, one of the top 10 powers in all the worlds. Everyone who meets him would have to grovel like a dog. But you, an 18-year-old in gray, actually called him Birdman in front of over 1,000 guards and complained he was annoying. How dare you, lowly ant? How dare you insult a god? Immediately, 1,000 guards roared in fury. All drew their fiery war blades at once. Terrifying killing intent locked onto you in midair. But the angel raised a hand, stopping the guards. On that handsome face, all the mockery had disappeared, replaced by intense rage. Well, well, the angel was so enraged he laughed. Wings of essence suddenly spread out behind him, blocking out the sky and the sun. A mere good-for-nothing with no soul bond. Dares to bark so arrogantly before me? I've decided to rip out your soul and refine it in divine fire for 10,000 years. Before his words even finished, the spirit lashed out suddenly. A blinding burst of golden divine flame erupted from his palm. The space around twisted wildly like melting plastic. It's the world-burning divine flame. Get back. Even a touch means instant death. The elders below were scared out of their wits. They frantically retreated. Just the dispersing heat alone was enough to make the solid plaza melt like wax. You're done for. The spirit sneered viciously. The divine fire transformed into an ancient fire dragon, charging straight down to devour you. Young master, get out of the way. Sukingan screamed in despair. But what nobody expected was, in the shocked gaze of everyone present, you didn't even try to dodge? Your eyebrows didn't even twitch. Facing this terrifying divine flame, you simply raised your right hand casually and grabbed the fire dragon by the throat. There wasn't some earth-shattering explosion. Just a harsh, muffled sound. In front of tens of thousands of stunned onlookers, the godly flame capable of burning stars was like a cheap matchstick, crushed by your fair palm and snuffed out. Not even a trace of flame was left behind. Instantly, the atmosphere turned dead silent again. The twisted grin on the spirit's face completely froze. In Dao Shu's pupils, for the first time appeared a look called shock. How could this be? How could my world-burning divine flame get choked out by a mortal body? He cried out involuntarily, his voice cracking. Your fire is too weak. It isn't even good enough to roast sweet potatoes. You shot him a cold glance. In fact, you just used the Taizhuan method and absorbed the energy directly into your golden core. But you sharply realized the shockwaves here would definitely flatten the fortress. You don't care about the others' lives. But your father's remains are still below. You can't fully unleash yourself here. Let's take this fight somewhere else. A flash of brutality crossed your eyes. The very next second, the ground beneath you shattered with a boom.
Taizhuan dragon seizing hand.
An invisible giant hand pierced through 100 meters in an instant. The spirit didn't even see your move, just felt an irresistible force, locked tightly around his throat. The spirit's eyes went wide. His wings flapped wildly. But he looked like a duck caught in iron pincers, completely unable to break free. The divine child stepped forward, trembling to the core with fear. They charged at you desperately, but you gave them no chance. You shouted angrily, "Get lost." Your primordial divine sense surged like a storm, blasting them back, sending them flying and coughing blood. Immediately after, in the numb, shocked stares of everyone present, you took the high and mighty captive in hand and shot upward like a meteor, crashing into the endless abyss of the void sea above. The crack closed up, leaving only a few 100,000 disarrayed people in the wind. At the same time, deep in the void sea abyss, this is the forbidden zone of life. Only chaotic space exists here, and the raging winds that can tear anything apart. Madman, you lunatic. Let go of me. Held by your grip, the rapidly falling spirit went pale with fear. He begged desperately for mercy. Shut up, you spat coldly. Just as you were about to take care of this noisy bastard, suddenly your movement stopped. In those eternal, unfathomable dark eyes, a trace of surprise appeared for the first time. Boom, boom, boom. An indescribably terrifying aura suddenly awakened from the depths of the abyss. The entire void sea is violently trembling. In the darkness below, two enormous blood moons suddenly light up. No, those are two eyes as colossal as stars. A roar, a dimension-shattering bellow reverberates. Immediately after, A star beast so massive it defies imagination slowly rises up. Just the airflow from its breath stirs up a cosmic storm. Lai Shing Titan. The moment the elves saw the behemoth was so frightened they wet themselves. A pungent stench spreads from their pants. How can there be a ninth-rank star beast? It's over, we're all doomed. Under extreme terror, the elf suddenly bites down and shatters the life-saving talisman at their chest. Great Transference Divine Talisman. There's a flash of golden light. Their body becomes ethereal. Madmen, you stay here and get torn apart. I'm out of here first. He lets out a venomous roar, transforms into a stream of light, forcefully breaks away and flees, no longer pursuing. Eyes fixated on the monstrous figure rushing up from below. Gotta admit, this ninth-ranked Titan's aura is utterly overwhelming. In front of it, your current body is not even a speck of dust. The Titan's palm, vast as continents, brings the might to destroy star rivers, and slams down mercilessly at you. Well, your dictionary doesn't have the word for this. Borrow a wisp of your breath. Break open my fourth seal. You take a deep breath, and slowly close your eyes. At the last possible moment, crack. The fourth shackle deep in your soul shatters with a bang. This awakening is in cultivation. But your grandmother whom you've never met, the supreme bloodline of the Elf Empress line, affinity with all beings and natural laws. Suddenly, a surge of rich emerald life light bursts forth from within you. This light isn't domineering, yet it makes every star beast unable to resist wanting to get close to it. At the same time, your hands rapidly form seals, activating the supreme beast subduing secret technique, Taixuan Beast Control Immortal Seal. An ancient talisman radiating blinding golden light condenses above your head, instantly expands to a colossal size, aiming to suppress hard against the Titan's head. The once berserk Titan, feeling that life light, its fierce eyes, suddenly show confusion. Then, at the very instant the immortal seal lands on its forehead, a feeling from deep within its soul, a bloodline suppression spanning ages, makes this ninth-ranked beast feel unprecedented terror and awe. It seems to see the ancient era, the supreme Tao Master ruling over all creatures. The storm stops. Space freezes. Strangely, that Titan, giant as a star, lets out an extremely submissive whimper. It retracts its world-ending hand, and thunderously, to you as tiny as dust, bows its noble head. In an instant, at the central plaza of the Hall of Truth, a shroud of despair covers hundreds of thousands of people. 1,000 personal guards in midair, like death incarnate. Even the air freezes. He charged into the abyss of the void sea. There's not even a trace left. Not even that freak remains. What are we supposed to fight with? Cries of despair echo endlessly. Many people have already lost hope. Su Qing'an closes her eyes, biting her lip tight. The throne of tranquility burns madly, preparing for self-destruction. Even if we lose, children of the human race must never become food. Just then, the space in mid-air suddenly twists. A bedraggled stream of light tumbles out, slamming heavily onto the Golden War chariot. It's the elf who escaped back. Even the divine child is utterly shaken, immediately kneeling on one knee. The elf at this moment hasn't a trace of nobility left. The priests lost their wings, clothes tattered beyond repair. Damn those human ants. He barely lands and starts roaring hysterically. His face twists into a demon. The dignified divine child almost wet himself. This is a humiliation beyond belief. But seeing the despair below, he forces back his fear, puts on his arrogant posture again. Your Excellency, divine child, where's that maniac? Xinwei Tongling asks cautiously. Jinling scoffs coldly, looking down and sneering. That clown, I already made sure in the void sea, used supreme divine power to turn him to dust, even burned away his soul. As the words fall, below all falls into absolute silence, the last spark of hope extinguished. Su Qing'an's eyes turn red. Is it really over? Listen. Inferior jurors, the elves' eyes shimmer cruelly. Because of that ant's offense, I've changed my mind. Today in the Hall of Truth, not even a blade of grass will be left. Over 1,000 guards roar with fanatic fury, holding blazing war blades. Dive down toward the fiery sea below. Form up, fight to the death. Su Qing'en and the surviving veterans ignite their final resolve, prepared to face one-sided slaughter. 1,000 meters. 500 meters. At 300 meters, at the critical moment, boom, 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 boom. Without any warning, the edge of the whole void sea space suddenly lets out a groaning whimper from strain. The sky goes black in an instant. Everyone instinctively looks up, and then see a scene they'll never forget for the rest of their lives. Above the heavens, the already sealed void sea crack is torn open by an unimaginable force, ripped wide open from the inside. It's not just a small tear. The entire sky is torn clean in two. What is that? The leading guard freezes midair. Eyes nearly pop out. Under everyone's numb and terrified gaze, a giant hand covered in dark golden scales, 10 times bigger than the 1,000-meter God Race battleship, emerges even more massive from within the crack. Its aura alone makes over 1,000 arrogant guards drop to the ground like dumplings, crushed, spewing blood. No, impossible. How did he get out? The elf on the war chariot feels his blood freeze. Legs buckle. He drops down, sitting on the ground, face stricken in ghostly horror. A roar shatters stars, an ancient beast bellow. Then that hand, larger than mountains, casually slaps toward the vessel, symbolizing the glory of the God Race. Main battleship, just a light slap. Smack like squashing a fly. That so-called indestructible super battleship didn't even activate its defenses. Explodes midair into a firework. Support crew are instantly vaporized into cosmic dust. Gulp, everyone below swallows hard. Brains completely freeze. One slap to smash the main ship. What dimension is this monster even from? Form a grand array for protection. Divine child, retreat. The lead guard howls in despair. But then a scene that completely shattered their worldview appeared. As the sky was completely torn open, the massive head of the 9th-tier blazing star Titan slowly emerged from the clouds. And in the very center of that continent-sized forehead, a figure dressed in tattered gray clothes, thin enough to be blown over by a gust of wind, was standing there proudly with hands behind his back. Your feet stepped on the world-shattering hand of the 9th-tier star behemoth, right hand grasping the endless power of the Supreme Tao, gathering into a single
10,000-foot-long sword crackling with apocalyptic thunder.
That overwhelming and commanding aura, treating gods and demons like nothing, made the entire world bow at your feet. Standing just like Lu Chun, Su Qing'en stared at you in a daze. Her eyes welled up with tears, her voice trembling.
He's okay.
He tamed the titan that even the gods feared. In an instant, tens of thousands in the crowd erupted in an earth-shaking roar. Lu Chun.
He returned riding the giant beast.
Compared to the humans' frenzy of joy, the divine race was left only with utter silence and despair. The elf collapsed on the war chariot. His body was shaking uncontrollably, looking at you as if an ancient god king had descended, his lips trembling. Weren't you crushed to dust? What kind of monster are you? You stood atop the titan's head, the wild wind blowing your black hair. You lowered your gaze, looking down at the elf below like a dying dog. Then you slowly raised your sword. The blade pointed straight at his brow. In your pitch-black eyes, a flash of extreme cruelty and mockery appeared. I remember you said, humans are just blood, for you to feed upon. A chilling cold smile curled up at your lips. Your voice was like the whisper of death, echoing across the whole world. Now it's my turn to devour you. Your voice wasn't loud, but with the power of the primal god stone, it was like the death knell from hell, ringing thunderously in the minds of every outsider. Madman, you absolute lunatic. The elf slumped on the chariot, finally snapped out of it. An unprecedented sense of danger exploded in his mind. Green guards, attack. Chop him into pieces for me. He screamed hysterically, his handsome face twisted like a demon's. At the same time, over 1,000 green guards who broke free from the pressure had raging fanaticism in their eyes. This was 1,000 top void tier experts. They all started burning their life force, forming a golden sea of flames powerful enough to burn the sky and boil the sea. Like a falling sun, they charged toward you like mad. Such a terrifying onslaught made the hundreds of thousands below turn pale again. 1,000 void tier experts, even throne peak cultivators, would have to run for their lives. Be careful, Lu Chen. Let the Titan attack quickly. At that critical moment, Su Qing'an shouted anxiously. But you, standing atop the Titan's head, didn't even lift your eyelids. Let him make a move? A look of utter contempt curled at your lips. Dealing with you worthless fools. Why dirty my mount? As soon as you finished speaking, you slowly raised your right hand, the sky-length celestial severing sword. Let out a thunderous, sky-shattering sword cry. Supreme sword technique. Heaven-slashing strike. No flashy techniques were used. No complicated gestures either. You simply gripped the giant sword casually and gently swung it at the sea of flames below. The brilliance of this sword slash is simply beyond words. Before the stunned audience, a crescent-shaped jet-black swordlight that could slice through space and time swept outward in an arc. Where the swordlight passed, the void shattered apart like paper. That scorching sun-like divine fire when it met the swordlight, like a candle in the wind, extinguished in an instant without even a spark left. Immediately followed by a scalp-numbing tearing sound, whoosh after whoosh, ringing out as densely as a rainstorm. Those 1,000 arrogant Imperial guards didn't even let out a scream. Their bodies froze in midair. The next second, thousands of bodies in dark gold armor were sliced neatly in two, permanently offline. Red mist fell from the sky like a rainstorm, dyeing the entire sky of the prosperous Tang into a shocking shade of dark red. One sword strike insta-killed 1,000 Void Realm experts.
Below,
Hundreds of thousands of people gasped in unison. Old relics who had lived for centuries were now staring at the sky like wooden carvings, wondering if they were hallucinating. Just one strike, just one sword strike. Those were 1,000 great experts. Gone, just like cutting leeks. Su Qing'an clutched her racing heart, watching you bathe in the rain of red, with not a speck of dust on your clothes. Her eyes were filled with shock. In the blink of an eye, none were more desperate than the elf on the chariot. Scalding droplets splashed across his face. His brain completely shut down. I must run or I'm finished. You ant! How dare you touch my guards? My father will never let you go. He frantically pulled out a jade flowing with 9-colored divine light. This was his final trump card, the God King projection talisman. Asterisk bang asterisk, the jade was crushed in his hand. Rumble, a pressure more terrifying than a tier 9 titan, by countless magnitudes, exploded forth. The void sea rift trembled violently. In midair, a figure 100,000 feet tall condensed. A supreme deity with 9 suns above his head. A projection. It's the blazing sun God King. Heavens, it actually disturbed. The projection of the God King himself. The hope that just rose below was instantly extinguished. That is an existence standing at the peak of the myriad races pyramid. Even if it's just a projection, it's enough to level any throne realm. Who dares defy me, the God King? The projection let out a roar like heavenly thunder. Eyes as massive as the sun and moon locked on tightly. Lowly ant, kneel and beg for forgiveness immediately. Otherwise I shall level you all to the ground. High and mighty, utterly arrogant. Father, save me. Finish him quickly. The elf clung to this like a lifesaver, screaming in excitement, staring at you with venom. Kid, you're finished. Now that my father has descended, there is no escape for you. Facing this threat that could collapse stars, you suddenly laughed. It was the kind of laugh one gives a clown. A sneer of extreme contempt. A mere projection with less than 1/10,000th of the original's power. Dares to call himself a king before me? You didn't even give the projection a glance. In an instant, you turned into an afterimage, ignoring the pressure lock.
teleporting directly in front of the elf.
What are you doing? My father is right here. The wild joy on the elf's face froze, retreating in terror. Didn't you like using others as nourishment? You were expressionless. Your right hand shot out like lightning. *** before the eyes of hundreds of thousands, and the horrified gaze of the 100,000-foot God King. Your pale palm pierced directly through his indestructible defense. Arg! The elf let out the most desperate scream of his life. Bastard, you dare? The God King projection in the sky roared in fury. A giant palm carrying world-destroying power swung down toward you. You didn't even look back. Supreme laws erupted from your brow. The Tier 9 Titan beneath your feet let out a roar and threw a punch toward the sky, forcing that hand to stop in midair, while your right hand suddenly twisted. Rip a prismatic crystal emitting blinding gold light, containing the ultimate essence, was ripped out by you. The blazing sun godhead. The elf stared blankly at his empty chest, his life force draining away frantically. To the end, he couldn't believe it. That you would actually, in front of the God King, rip out his godhead alive. The arrogant divine son became a cold husk, tumbling off the chariot like trash. Instantly, the heavens went silent. Whether it was the humans or the celestial God King projection, everything fell into a dead silence, ripping out a godhead alive. This was the ultimate slap in the face to the god race. But you didn't care at all. You looked at the energy-rich godhead in your hand. A hint of greed flashed in your eyes. Good stuff, just right to boost my Taixuan Dao mechanism. Then, under everyone's ghostly gazes, you simply opened your mouth, and that godhead, which would turn a void realm expert into ash upon contact, was swallowed by you in one gulp. The godhead entered your body. The star-swallowing remnant scroll acted like an enraged Taudi, circulating wildly within you at an overloaded speed. The reason you dared to do this was because the moment the violent essence tried to destroy your meridians, it was devoured by the void golden core, the pure spiritual energy that was then fed back, washed through your limbs like a galaxy pouring down. Crack. The bones in your body thundered with pops. Your cultivation soared like a rocket. Peak of awakening realm. Star refinement realm, broken. Peak of star refinement realm, broken. Void realm, broken. In just a few breaths, a vast starry sky actually condensed above your head. The throne phantom. Stepping into the throne realm, the void golden core also reached total perfection, emitting an eternal, indestructible glow. Arg, you dare swallow my godhead? I will wipe you all out completely. In mid-air, the God King projection began to distort from extreme fury. At the same time, due to this massive energy fluctuation, the space deep within the void sea tore repeatedly. 1 to 10. A full 100 rifts, grand projections representing the deities of the myriad races emerged one after another. Substantial killing intent locked onto you. Those who profane the gods must be punished. Humans face the judgment of the gods. Echoing like a great bronze bell, the human fortress trembled under the pressure. However, having just broken through the throne realm shackles, you slowly raised your head, facing the sky full of projections. There wasn't a hint of fear on your face, only the extreme fanaticism of a past life that hunted the gods and demons of the heavens. You slowly raised your right hand toward those in the sky. Over 100 projections. You flipped a highly provocative middle finger. Your voice, arrogant to the extreme, turned into thunder, tearing through the entire void sea. Don't crowd. Wash your necks. I'm coming for you. Wash your necks. I'm coming for you. That arrogant declaration of yours swept over the sky of the prosperous tongue like an interstellar storm. Even the high and mighty God projections paused for a moment because of those words. Arrogant. At the battlefield of the gods, I shall lay an inescapable net for you. If you dare come, I will ensure your soul and body are utterly destroyed. The blazing sun God King roared venomously. Afterwards, the skywide projections couldn't withstand the cross-border power and faded away one after another. The world finally returned to peace, but hundreds of thousands of people were stunned for a long time. Everyone stared fixedly at the figure atop the Titan's head, radiating overwhelming authority, awe, worship, and fanaticism. It was as if they were gazing up at a real god. Young Master Su Qingyan, eyes reddened, soared into the air, stopping 10 yards away.
He didn't dare come any closer.
The power you displayed completely shattered his understanding. Su Qingyan, you turned your head. Your dark eyes regained their calm. My father's body is buried at the highest place in Shengtang. Tell those old bones, if anyone touches a single hair of his, I will tear their souls out and light the heavenly lantern. This fierce warning made several elders below who had just come to their senses shiver simultaneously. Their heads shook like rattles. Are you kidding? Who would dare provoke you, a lively deity, unless they're tired of living? This head is too big. I'll have him stay at the perimeter and guard the gate. You patted the rough scales beneath your feet and leaped forward, landing lightly in the void. As for me, I'm going out to take care of something. Young master, where are you going? A sudden sense of foreboding rose in Su Qingyun's heart. You just said you're going to find them. Are you heading to the gods' battlefield? No, that's a meat grinder for all races. You're going there all alone, to be cannon fodder? You turned your head, the corner of your mouth curving into a meaningful smile. I'm going to restock, because you just swallowed the divine core. Not only did you break through the throne realm, it also made the devouring star fragment show extreme longing, wanting to break through the fifth shackle. You still need vast amounts of high-level energy. To others, the all races seem like unbeatable gods. But to you, the Tao ancestor who devoured countless old monsters in your previous life. They're basically a bunch of walking super supplements. No need to follow. Just guard the house well. You didn't bother with more words. With a swipe of your hand, relying solely on sheer physical strength, you tore a massive spatial rift in the void sea. Under everyone's shocked gaze, you stepped into the chaotic currents without hesitation, facing danger alone. Not long after, deep within the void sea, the gods' battlefield. Here is a giant ruin made from countless shattered star seas. The place is full of raging storms and pungent smells. This battlefield is usually in chaos, but today it was unusually quiet. A suffocating sense of oppression blanketed millions of miles, because the All Races Coalition had arrived. They came to hunt down this anomaly. You, the All Races leaders, were completely enraged and issued the highest wanted order. At this moment, in the very center of the star sea, 100 All Races godsons shining with divine radiance hovered in midair like suns. There were 6-winged angels and purple flame demons. The weakest among them were at the peak of the throne realm. Around them stood a dense crowd of exactly 1,000 throne realm powerhouses. This terrifying force could sweep dozens of star domains. But today, they are here just to hunt you alone. The Sun God clan is really regressing. They actually let a human failure eliminate a god son. It's downright shameful for the all races. A god son wrapped in lightning sneered. I heard that kid just broke through to the throne realm. Hey, even if he has some weird tricks, against our tenfold obliteration grand formation, if he dares to show up, he'll be instantly blown to pieces by you. Another Demon Clan prodigy laughed arrogantly. In their view, the mere aura from these 1,000 people is enough to scare you out of your wits. Just as they were mocking arrogantly, the void at the center of the battlefield suddenly twisted violently. A piercing tearing sound rang out. Immediately after, under the gaze of tens of thousands of cruel, mocking eyes, a youth dressed in tattered gray clothes, with both hands in his pockets, a slim figure, walked slowly out of the rift. It was really him. He actually showed up. He came to challenge us alone without even a weapon. Humans really are nothing but brainless idiots. Laughter instantly erupted on the battlefield. Thousands of aliens looked on with scorn in their eyes, as if watching a grasshopper jump willingly into a boiling pot of oil. The son of God of the human thunder tribe looked down at you from above. I have to admit, you have guts, but in the face of absolute power, bravery is laughable. Now kneel, hand over your divine core, and I might consider letting you die in one piece. As soon as he finished speaking, boom, the 1,000 thrones on the outer perimeter all stepped forward in unison. 1,000 terrifying waves of pressure, like 1,000 primordial divine mountains, instantly sealed off all space around you, slamming down on you with overwhelming force. Crack, crack. The hard ground beneath your feet was instantly crushed to powder. Kneel! 1,000 voices roared in unison. The sound shook the very heavens. All the aliens showed cruel smiles, ready to witness you kneeling and begging for mercy, your bones smashed. However, a second passed, then 10 seconds passed. But you, at the center of the pressure storm, not only didn't kneel, your knees didn't even bend a millimeter. You simply stood there, letting the pressure that could crush stars blow through your black hair. Suddenly, you slowly raised your head, No fear, no rage. No one would have thought. As 100 divine sons and 1,000 elites watched in shock. On your delicate face, a wild, almost maniacal smile slowly blossomed. Even a little twisted. That's right, a smile. It was the same smile you had in your past life. When you saw mountains full of rare immortal herbs. When you saw endless resources to perfect your golden core. A greedy smile at that moment. 100 high-level divine cores. And 1,000 thrones essences. You stuck out your tongue. Licked your parched lips. Your pitch-black eyes. Instantly flooded with the savage red glow of devouring star scripture. Looking at the dumbfounded coalition army all around. You spread your arms wide. And let out a bone-chilling whisper, like a demon god. You think this is a trap to hunt me? The grin at your lips stretched all the way to your ears. And the murderous intent in your eyes exploded. This is a graveyard I've prepared for you. Your words, spoken offhand, echoed across the silent battlefield. After a brief moment of shock, thunderous laughter erupted, as thousands of alien elites roared. The hundreds of high and mighty divine sons laughed so hard they nearly fell over, even to the point of tears. A graveyard. This kid must have gone insane from fear. The Thunder Tribe's divine son looked at him as if he were a fool. Just you alone, without even a weapon. How are you going to bury us? By talking us to death? Enough, stop wasting time. Let's rip out his very essence. The Demon Tribe prodigy waved his hand sharply. Ultimate Annihilation Array. Activate. Blast him into dust boom. Immediately, 1,000 thrones unleashed their power at once. 1,000 wild surges of energy shot into the sky, merging into a beam tens of thousands of feet tall. This force was enough to pierce a planet in an instant. Yet faced with this world-destroying attack, you didn't even try to dodge? You stood right there, raising your chin slightly, with a flash of utter contempt in your dark eyes. Barbarians, and you think you know anything about arrays. Before I came, I had that Titan, bury Supreme Primordial Essence at all 84,000 nodes on this battlefield. Supreme Essence at every node. You slowly raised your right hand, forming an ancient seal with your slender fingers, since you want to see trouble. Then let this bunch of frogs in a well open their eyes, with my golden core as the eye, the laws of heaven and earth as the foundation. Earth shaking just as you spoke. The entire battlefield space suddenly let out a groan, unable to bear the load. No one would have expected. As the aliens looked on in horror, the ruins began to boil as if they had come alive. What's happening? My stellar essence is being suppressed. The aliens in front screamed in terror. They suddenly realized the laws of the universe had changed. The ultimate deadly array of Eastern cultivation, for the first time in this dimension, showed its fangs in true despair. Clang, 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 clang. 4 consecutive sword cries that pierced the soul erupted from 4 corners of the starry sky at once. In a flash, 4 immense beams soared straight into the heavens, blasting through the whole battlefield. Red, white, green, 4 giant swords, each exuding a murderous aura, appeared. Phantoms slowly emerged. The primordial first execution array, Little Immortal Execution Formation, has arrived. What are those things? The wild grin on the Thunder Tribe's divine son's face froze instantly. The moment he saw the giant swords, the bloodline he was so proud of began shaking uncontrollably, and his legs buckled, almost making him kneel. It felt like an ant staring up at the sky. Boom! The alien's proud pillar of destruction slammed hard against the array's light barrier. Strangely, there was no earth-shattering explosion, as if a single drop of water fell into molten lava. Not even a splash. Instantly shredded by the sword aura, nothing left. Impossible! Hundreds of divine sons screamed at once. Their eyes were about to pop out. 1,000-strong joint attack couldn't even leave a mark. Supreme Sword Domain. For you, the center of the array's power. The Master Reaper spit out cold words. Devour, 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 devour! The 4 giant swords trembled violently. Billions of silken threads of sword energy capable of slicing space, like a torrential downpour, swept indiscriminately toward the allied army inside the formation. Ah! Ear-piercing screams echoed across the stars. Protective star essence? Divine armor scales? In front of the deadliest array, they were even weaker than paper. Just a single clash. The 300-plus experts on the front lines couldn't even self-destruct, instantly turned into clouds of icy dust and slaughter. A true mass extinction, everyone wiped out at once. That lunatic, he's a monster. Run! The remaining 700 completely collapsed, wailing and fleeing like stray dogs. But inside the array is a world of its own. Where can you run? The once arrogant divine sons lost all pride at this point. They watched their bodyguards wiped out before their eyes, their faces drained of color from fear. You said you were going to tear out my soul just now. Just then, an icy voice suddenly whispered in the Thunder Tribe divine son's ear. His whole body froze. He turned his head mechanically and saw that, somehow, you were already there, strolling through the sword aura as if nothing had happened. Approached him. Your spotless gray robe stood in stark contrast to the surrounding inferno, creating a chillingly extreme difference. Don't touch me. I'm the heir of the Thunder Clan. If you lay a hand on me, Lord Thunder Ancestor will definitely. Fuck you. You didn't even have the patience to listen to his threats? Your right hand shifted from a palm to a blade, with a hint of suggestion, and swiftly sliced forward. The Thunder Clan prince was instantly killed. With one big grab, you reached directly into the wreckage and dug out a god crystal crackling with lightning. You activated Devouring Star Scroll. At full power, like eating candies, you swallowed the god crystal in one gulp. Relishing it, you let out a satisfied sigh. The golden core within you surged once again. Wang Zuojing's aura climbed like a volcano. Then you turned your head. Those savage eyes locked onto the remaining 99 god princes, like a wolf starved for 10 days, staring at a flock of trembling sheep. One after another, not long after, the battlefield became the final station for these prodigies. With a casual stroll, with each step, an arrogant god prince was blasted apart. You dug out their god crystals and devoured them instantly. No unnecessary words, just pure harvesting. The demon clan prince was punched straight through. The angel prince was torn apart, wings and all. In just 10 short minutes, most of the 100 god princes fell. 1,000 Danings were completely wiped out. All that remained on the battlefield was you feasting. The sound was drip, drip. Godly blood dripped from your fingers. Your feet surrounded by the piles of once arrogant remains. A little over 30 god princes still alive were kneeling on the ground, shivering like dogs, sobbing uncontrollably, begging for mercy. Monster, you are a monster. Please, don't eat me. I'll be your pet if you let me live. This is way too terrifying. This isn't even a fight. It's one-sided feeding. You not only mastered incomprehensible formations, you could even swallow god crystals whole, completely shattering their worldviews. You were almost too full. You twisted your neck a bit. The energy from dozens of god crystals surged inside you, pushing your power to near the peak of the throne realm. But since you're here, might as well take everything with you. You gave a cold laugh and slowly raised your hand, ready to finish off the rest. At the last possible moment. How dare you, boom! A roar like the explosion of the universe suddenly thundered from the top of the heavens. The moment that voice rang out, cracks appeared in the arena's light barrier, and the space around you shattered inch by inch like glass, revealing boundless void. The ancestor has descended. The desperate god princes erupted into ecstatic screams. Space was brutally torn open into a black hole. 3 towering figures beyond description forcefully crossed worlds and descended. To the left, 12 black wings blocked the sky, the abyssal demon ancestor. To the right, a body of pure liquid thunder, eyes blazing like suns, the thunder god ancestor. In the middle, a divine halo atop the head, radiating utter holiness, the holy light angel ancestor. 3 supreme divine beings, the very pinnacle of the universe's races, dominators who've lived tens of thousands of years. 3 full realms beyond you, just to take on an 18-year-old human. They shamelessly sent their true forms. Wretched ant, you killed my prodigies and devoured god crystals. Today you must be annihilated. Thunder Ancestor roared in fury. His voice alone shattered the remains below. Into powder, little executioner's array. You glare at me coldly. Both hands form a seal, pushing your power to the limit. The four giant swords converge into a beam that pierces the galaxy and slash toward the three people. How dare mere ants draw their swords against a god? The demon-breaking clan's old ancestor sneers coldly. He merely extends a finger and taps lightly. Crack, boom. The power gap is simply too vast. Plus, with your current astral source, you can't unleash its full power at all. The barrier of the primordial devastation formation shatters apart. The formation's core is broken.
It's as if struck by lightning.
You spit out a huge mouthful of blood. You fly backward like a kite with its string cut, heavily smashing apart a vast expanse of starry sea. You're doomed, crushed to pieces. The surviving divine children burst into vengeful laughter. Kneel before me now. Maybe this god will consider sparing you. Just you? 10 angel ancestors gaze down from above. The pressure of the three sacred gods descends like 3 real galaxies. They press down hard on your frail body. If it were someone else, they would have been crushed instantly. Every bone in your body grinds with piercing sounds. Blood seeps out, dyeing your clothes bright red. Your legs tremble violently, as if you'd fall to your knees the next second. But you don't kneel, even with your bones breaking. Your spine remains perfectly straight. You slowly raise your bloodied face and look at those 3 ancient ones in the sky. Not only do you not feel despair, the corners of your mouth instead twist into a maniacal, wild grin. You 3 old dogs. I was just worried I couldn't burn off all this energy inside me. Really, thanks for giving me such fatal pressure. Boom! In the 3 ancestors' shocked gazes, you close your eyes and let out a deafening, sky-shaking roar. Break for me! Crack, crack, crack! With your angry roar, deep within your soul, the final 3 shackles binding you, the noble gentleman and supreme bloodline. Under the extreme external pressure and the surging of dozens of divine sparks, the 5th, 6th, and 7th shackles shatter at once. Zephyrs even older, and more terrifying than the 3 sacred gods, bursts from your tattered body with a thunderous explosion. This aura soars to the sky and forcibly pushes their oppression back. Immediately after, in the terrified eyes of the 3 ancient beasts, behind you 3 supreme phantoms representing the universe's peak powers slowly ascend. On the far left, a pitch black, ancient tiger talisman radiates endless killing intent as it condenses in midair. It's the supreme faith of the Night Watcher's army, Marshall's tiger talisman, from your mysteriously vanished grandfather, the strongest commander of the human race. On the far right, a sword burning with pure white flame, 100 times more sacred than the angel ancestor, the sword of absolute judgment. Tears open the starry sky, from your holy grandmother who oversees the universal tribunal. And in the very center, a crown woven from ancient tree branches of life radiates the highest laws, and Emerald King's crown shines forth from your legendary, long-secluded elven empress, your grandmother. The 3 phantoms shine together. Any one of them alone is enough to make all races tremble in fear. But now, unbelievably, they're all appearing on an 18-year-old boy. That's the Night Watcher's tiger talisman. There's also the judgmental holy light and the elven crown. Impossible, absolutely impossible. Whose descendant is he, really? Just a moment ago, those 3 old ancestors were so arrogant, but now their voices shake with fear. Their eyeballs quiver violently. At this critical moment, the battlefield space feels as if time itself has stopped. Behind your back, the void is ripped open by 3 distinct, but equally immense, infinite wills, forcibly tearing open reality. 3 voices that traverse endless time and space, utterly protective and unbelievably domineering and icy cold, roar like rolling thunder, violently exploding across the whole universe. Who dares touch my dear grandson? 3 roars cross endless time and space, laden with unimaginable power, exploding above the ruined god's battlefield.
The sound,
As if detonating at the universe's very core, 1,000,000 miles of astral sea is shaken into wild turbulence. Even light is shattered into pieces. The 3 sacred god ancestors who ruled moments ago, Their sneering faces freeze instantly, their gazes lock tightly on you, and the three colossal phantoms opening up the galaxy behind you. Impossible! The Demon Clan ancestor howls like a stuck pig. His eyeballs nearly pop out. That's the supreme tiger talisman of the Night Watchers. That crazy human clan swept the 18th abyss, even beat down the abyssal overlords. How does this kid have the judgment? The holy light. The angel ancestor's voice cracks in terror. The divine halo on his head shatters. That gang from the Universal Tribunal, those unreasonable bullies. Weren't they sealed long ago? Could he be directly descended from the crazy woman? And the Elven Queen's crown? Thunder ancestor's body of liquid lightning is on the verge of collapse. He didn't die. Not only did he survive, he even has a grandson. These three ancient monsters have lived for tens of thousands of years. They're at the very top of all races. And now they're completely losing their minds. They thought they were surrounding just a somewhat talented human ant. Never in their wildest dreams could they imagine you had the three most unreasonable, fiercely protective, and terrifying supreme factions in the universe behind you. If you mess with any one, your whole people will be wiped out, let alone all three together. And right at that moment, it's all a misunderstanding, that's all. Thunder Ancestor, who just threatened to wipe out humanity, has his knees go weak and actually kneels unceremoniously in midair, in front of tens of thousands of alien races. Young master, we failed to recognize greatness. It was just a joke earlier. Yes, just a joke. The other two ancestors are also scared out of their wits, waving their hands and backing away desperately. We'll leave right now. We're leaving now. The divine children below are totally stunned. Their faith is shattered. Those are sacred gods. Now they're like three old dogs, whining and begging for mercy from an 18-year-old, yet facing their pleas. You slowly raise your hand. Your wounds heal visibly. Your three supreme bloodlines are fully awakened. In your pitch-black eyes, there is no mercy, only endless indifference. Since you came, stay here forever. The corner of your mouth curls into a mocking sneer. Didn't I just say? I came here for supplies. Spare us, young master. We're sacred gods. If you erase us, you'll cause a cosmic war. You can't be bothered to listen to their nonsense. You raise your right hand slowly. In that instant, the three supreme phantoms behind you seem to merge with your ancient Taoist power. Immediate suppression, absolute judgment, deprivation of life, Taixuan Taoist art, triple annihilation seal. Boom! You slammed your palm down. There was no flashy energy at all. A clash like this is only a dimensional crushing attack, a true downgrade strike. Amidst the crowd's horrified and awestruck gazes, a millstone of black, white, and green laws intertwined appeared, instantly enveloping the three trying to tear through the void and escape. Elders. I can't accept this. They screamed in agony. Even their so-called eternal saintly divine bodies were ground down under the millstone, not holding on for even half a second, disintegrating inch by inch like building blocks, turning to dust and powder everywhere. In an instant, another instant kill. Only this time, the ones killed instantly were three supreme saints. The few remaining divine children below the elders were so terrified that over half fainted on the spot. And all you did was make a casual gesture. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Three saint cores, each 100 times bigger than the radiant sun god core, fell into the palm of your hand. Incredible supplements. A greedy red light flashed in your eyes. The swallowing star scroll pounced like a fierce tiger. You opened your mouth wide and swallowed these three crystals enough to explode a galaxy. In one big gulp. Rumble. As their energy surged into your body, the golden core inside you spun wildly, and your cultivation began, charging furiously toward the Emperor Lord Realm. But just then, the entire Void Sea Abyss suddenly let out an extremely piercing shriek. Light was instantly sucked dry. An oppressive force more terrifying than those three saints combined 10,000 times over descended with a boom. Boom. Crack, crack. The indestructible walls of the universe were ripped apart like an eggshell by two massive golden hands. Endless divine radiance poured down like a waterfall. lighting up the pitch-black starry sky as bright as day. At the heart of the divine radiance stood a majestic figure crowned and robed in divine attire, slowly stepping out from the void. He wasn't an illusion, but his true form, descending as the highest lord of the void sea. God King Odes. Just his arrival alone caused time and space around to completely freeze. It's His Majesty the God King. The God King has descended in person. The divine children who hadn't fainted below burst into tears of excitement. Odes looked down from above, gazing with those golden eyes as bright as stars at the lowly ants beneath him. Even if you possess 3 supreme bloodlines, if you dare harm my saints, today I will still make you. His voice boomed, deafening like a colossal bell and drum. But when his divine sense swept into the depths of your soul and touched upon the Taixuan aura for just a split second, incredibly, the God King's voice suddenly froze. It was like a rooster being strangled mid-crow. All that pride and arrogance on his face vanished without a trace in an instant. What replaced it was a look of utter terror, as if he'd seen a ghost. His massive body, under the eyes of the whole universe, began shuddering violently, completely beyond his control. He stared at you wide-eyed, his pointing hand trembling furiously. In the midst of utter silence, this supreme God King let out a shrill roar filled with 10 million years of fear. Taixuan, you old demon. You fiend who devoured half the universe. You're still alive? His roar reverberated through the stars like a level 12 interstellar tsunami, echoing madly across the void. In a blink, everything turned deadly silent. The remaining divine children's minds below went totally blank. What's going on? The God King who's ruled the void sea for tens of thousands of years just lost control. Just what kind of forbidden existence is this young man? You, the center of attention, slowly pressed the last wisp of energy into your golden core, then looked up, unhurried, meeting his shaken, terrified gaze. Your lips curled up bit by bit, showing a friendly smile just like reuniting with an old friend. You raised your eyebrows. Your voice wasn't loud, but it rang clearly in his ears. I was wondering who would make such a grand entrance. So it turns out it's you, the scruffy bird who used to follow behind me and pick up the leftover fragments of galaxies I tossed aside. Boom, the moment you said that, the worldviews of the alien races were utterly shattered. A dignified God King was once only worthy of picking up leftovers behind you. You really are a devil. As soon as he heard Scruffy Bird, Odes' eye twitched uncontrollably. The fear you instilled in him tens of thousands of years ago surged back into his heart. He was so frightened he instinctively tried to flee. But in the next second, his eyes focused sharply. He sensed your presence at the peak of the throne realm, barely brushing the threshold of the void realm at most. He froze for 3 seconds, then suddenly burst into hysterical laughter. You scared me to death. I thought you'd return to your former peak. His gaze instantly turned twisted and vicious. Right now you're just a puny ant who hasn't developed at all. What a heaven-sent opportunity. As long as I erase you here today and devour your Tao, I'll be able to transcend the universe's shackles. The God King's aura was unleashed to the fullest. Hundreds of exhausted planets around you exploded simultaneously, turned to smoke and disappear. Old villain Odes roared fiercely. In his hand he formed the Ragnarok Spear, powerful enough to create and destroy worlds. It was charged with the power to annihilate everything, and it thrust straight toward your chest. This attack was unavoidable. Even if 10 holy gods combined their power, they would still be vaporized in an instant. It's over the alien godsons closed their eyes in despair. Yet faced with this all-erasing strike, you just stood there, not even bothering to dodge. You looked at the arrogant Odes, with eyes full of pity, as if you were looking at an idiot. Scruffy Bird, who told you I need time to develop to strike back? The twisted grin at the corner of your lips grew to the extreme. Burn for me, boom, boom, boom. With your wild roar, the talents you just absorbed from 100 godsons, thousands of throne star essences, and those 3 shards of holy godhood, at this moment, were all ignited by you in the most insane way possible. A complete sacrifice. This wasn't for a breakthrough, but to awaken that supreme treasure from the depths of your soul that crossed over with you. Suddenly, at the center of your brows, a crack erupted open.
Next.
An ancient, mysterious cyan light shot out. It was a relic, the divine lotus stand fragment from your previous life. Eternal creation, grant me one more heaven's power. You forcefully clasped your hands together. The fragment instantly melted, transforming into immeasurable primal chaos energy, which surged through every part of you.
Next.
Under Odes's gaze of ultimate terror, your aura began to skyrocket in complete defiance of logic. Throne Realm Peak, or the Void Realm, or Emperor Sovereign Realm, or even the Holy God Mirror, it smashed right through. An aura far above the God King, transcending the universe's very limits, roared out of you like a primordial dragon. The heavenly venerable realm meaning one star, surpassing all known power in the universe. Full level experience. Kaboom! Odes's devastating spear stabbed 3 feet in front of you into the void. As if it struck an impenetrable wall, a crisp crack sounded, and it shattered inch by inch. No way! What kind of sorcery did you use? How did your realm get boosted to this level instantly? Odes gripped the half-broken spear, staring at you surrounded by swirling chaos energy, as if you were a deity who created the world.
He was scared out of his wits.
And retreated madly. Sorcery! You twisted your neck, relishing the overwhelming power you hadn't felt in so long. Even if it only lasts 15 minutes, it's more than enough to deal with a scruffy bird like you. Country bumpkin who's never seen the world. In the blink of an eye, your form blurred, without even using teleportation. Just pure physical speed. Ignoring all laws, you appeared directly in front of him. He's utterly stunned, just as he tried to raise his hand to block smack. The crisp sound of a slap echoed across the galaxy. A dignified God King was slapped by you so hard that half his divine body collapsed. Golden vital energy gushed out like a fountain. His whole body spun away like a top. Flying thousands of yards, dare strike my face? He reassembled his body and let out a roar of humiliated anger. That's exactly why I'm hitting you, stupid scruffy bird. You laughed wildly, like a fierce tiger descending from the mountain, rushing straight at him. Boom! 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 In this moment, all laws were thrown aside. You just unleashed the most primitive, savage, absolute force. One punch shattered his divine crown. One kick destroyed his magical robe. An elbow strike smashed a gaping void into his chest. In front of this ancient ancestor Buddha, the present-day God King was like a helpless infant, getting ruthlessly beaten down in the starry sky. Vast stretches of the starfields around you collapsed. I'll fight you to the end. God King Avatar. Odes, forced into desperation, wailed in despair. He burned all his vital energy, condensing a 1,000,000-foot-tall avatar of contempt, making one final struggle. Is this really all you've got? And you have the nerve to show off before me? A cold gleam flashed in your eyes, and your right hand lashed out, summoning a giant cyan hand, which instantly grew to 10,000 feet, and grabbed the avatar's throat. Break for me, crack! Boom! With Odes' scream of utter despair, you crushed the avatar single-handedly, turning it into a golden rain. Odes coughed up a mouthful of blood. His energy could no longer maintain any dignity, and he collapsed like a defeated dog in the void. With one step forward of your right foot, you stomped hard on his face, pressing this lofty God King firmly under your foot, grinding him in the golden downpour. From above, you looked down at Odes, whose face was gripped by terror. A mocking sneer curled at the corner of your lips. The surrounding space screeched and cracked. Vast dark voids caved inward. It's been tens of thousands of years. Odes, your voice isn't loud, but every word pierces the heart. You're still such a useless waste. That dismissive sentence from you, combined with your foot on God King Odes' face, utterly crushed this supreme overlord's last bit of dignity. Odes let out a blood-curdling scream.
His once majestic
face was stomped so hard it became horribly deformed. Streams of origin energy gushed madly through the cosmos like running water. Just then, boom, 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 boom. The aftershocks of two supreme beings' clash finally went beyond the limits of this battered star system with a deafening bang that shattered time and space. The universe wall of the entire battlefield was violently blown apart. That explosion was like dropping a super nuke into the cosmic depths. The battlefield, once hidden, was instantly and completely exposed to the eyes of the entire universe. Countless starfields, billions of light years away. At the same time, everyone sensed this terrifying surge. Meanwhile, the Truth Sanctuary barrier in the human territory shattered. Images from the battlefield were transmitted. Inside the control room, several elders pointed at the huge crystal screen, their bodies trembling violently. Su Qing'an suddenly lunged toward the screen. The moment she saw clearly what was on it, this mentor, usually cold as an iceberg, her legs buckled. She collapsed directly to the floor. Tears burst forth like a flood. The young master is truly the young master. Not only is he unharmed, he's stepping on the divine king. And it's not just him. Tens of thousands throughout Shengtang, all struck like lightning at this moment, staring fiercely at the screen. In the image, you're wearing tattered gray clothes, surrounded by chaotic energy. Simply put, like an immortal monument standing between the cosmos. And that supreme divine king who enslaved the humans for tens of thousands of years is lying there like a dead dog, being crushed under your foot. Quick, live stream. Switch the feed deep into the rise and fall sanctuary across the cosmos. The old dean who's lived for 3,000 years, crying with tears streaming down his face, even threw down his cane and shouted hoarsely, "Mobilize all resources. Hack directly into all racist terminals. I want every human in the universe to see this." This moment, boom. Shengtang's superformation is operating at full power. In an instant, every star network terminal in the universe, and all holographic projections, were forcibly changed in signal. Countless beings just need to look up to see the grand image reflected in the sky. Meanwhile, coincidentally, Sirius star region, abyssal mining planet, hundreds of thousands of human laborers, burdened with heavy shackles, were mining like the walking dead. If they paused for even a moment, they'd be lashed by alien overseers, losing half their life. Crawl faster. Dig, you worthless fodder. A four-armed alien cursed furiously, whipping an old man with white hair on his back. The old man groaned, falling to the ground, eyes full of despair. For tens of thousands of years, humans were born slaves, unable to see even a glimmer of tomorrow. But suddenly the sky flickered. The scene of you trampling the divine king on the battlefield of the gods was reflected in everyone's eyes like a miracle. That human, who is he? The alien overseer's whip dropped to the ground, his eyes nearly popping out, his entire body trembling uncontrollably. He's stepping on His Majesty, the divine king. This has to be an illusion. The old man lying in the dirt slowly looked up, the instant he saw your figure in the image. In his cloudy eyes, a brilliance burst forth like never before. It's the human race. It's our powerful human. Somehow the old man found strength and suddenly stood up, howling toward the heavens. Someone is fighting for us. Even the lofty gods can be trampled beneath the feet of humans one day. Boom! The entire mining center erupted. Millions of laborers' rage and humiliation, pent up for ages, at this moment, suddenly turned into the wildest faith.
The same scene
Was playing out in every corner of the cosmos. In the gladiator arenas, despairing fighters looked at the projection, feverishly rushed at the aliens, guarding the breeding farms. Countless women and children watched your silhouette, knelt to the ground in prayer, weeping like rain. Save us. The cure for humanity never stopped. Anger, humiliation, frenzy, hope. Trillions of humans across the universe. At this moment, all their willpower miraculously reached absolute resonance. Buzz, buzz, buzz. An invisible yet immense force, so powerful even fate itself had to stand up, rose in every corner of the universe. They were countless golden points of light, extremely weak, yet endless. This is the collective willpower of all life. This is the destiny of humanity. The scene shifts. Battlefield of the gods. Hey, Taijuan. Odes, the old villain, is pinned beneath someone's foot, his hair disheveled. His divine body is cracking inch by inch. But in his golden eyes, there's a flash of utter madness and a cold grin. Your borrowed power is running out, isn't it? No wonder you're a freak who's lived 10,000 years. He keenly senses All around him, that maxed out level blue chaotic energy from the experience card is visibly darkening. That's right. Your 15 minutes of invincibility are almost over. Your cultivation is irreversibly falling. You can't defeat me. Once your power is exhausted, I'll extract your origin and roast it in divine fire for 10,000 years. Ode suddenly erupts with his last divine power. He actually manages to force your foot up an inch. The recovery ability of the gods is terrifying. As long as he's not instantly killed, he can always make a comeback, feeling your strength rapidly draining away. There's not the slightest panic on your handsome face. You simply raise your head slowly, looking into the depths of the cosmos. The borrowed power has indeed run out. You whisper softly, the corner of your mouth suddenly curving into an incredibly domineering smirk. But who said this was all I had? As soon as you finish speaking, boom. The sky above the entire battlefield is instantly filled by an endless ocean of golden light.
It fills everything in a flash.
It's arriving, traversing the entire universe, gathered from the endless blood, tears, and faith of trillions of humans. The destiny of humanity, that pure golden river in the sky, ignores the limits of time and space, letting out a roar as it pours into your body with a thunderous blast. What the hell is this thing? Odes, who was laughing wildly just a moment ago, freezes in shock. He looks at the vast golden light shining from the myriad temples, feeling something inside, an incomprehensible will of all living beings beyond any god's understanding. A lethal sense of crisis explodes from the depths of his soul. Is this the psychic power of humans, those lowly cattle? Impossible! A bunch of ants who can't even perceive star energy. How could they, possibly, condense a power that transcends all cosmic laws? Lowly cattle, bathed in the golden light, you slowly close your eyes. Every bone and limb of yours is insanely absorbing this destiny. The Muay Thai force inside you, about to dissipate, gets reignited by this fire of faith, rising like a phoenix reborn, exploding forth with an ultimate energy 10 times more terrifying than before. This is no longer a trial version. This is now yours alone. The absolute strength belonging solely to the guardian deity of humanity. Crack, the Taitsu golden core inside you finally fades away, transforming into a Tao core like the origin point of the universe itself. Your aura takes the final step. Ultimate Tao Lord boom. The instant you step forward, the entire alien universe stalls. There's no howling wind, no sky collapsing, earth shattering. Instead, an absolute dead silence suffocates every soul. Even the falling stones freeze in midair. The light stops, suspended in the void. Even Odes' expression of utter terror becomes petrified. At this moment, all beings across the heavens lower their noble heads to you. Ultimate. Odes' whole body spasms violently, feeling from you that force only present in your prime. He's utterly broken. You actually made it back to your peak. Whatever hope he had in his eyes is crushed to dust. I have to run back to the core of the god realm. Trying to run? You slowly open your eyes. Your left eye reflects the Taijuan chaos. Your right eye blazing with the unyielding fury of trillions of humans. You enslaved the human race for tens of thousands of years, treated my people like cattle. Your voice becomes the supreme decree of judgment, echoing across every live broadcast, exploding inside the minds of every living being in the universe. If I let you escape today, what right do I, Lu Chan, have to carry the destiny of all humans? You slowly raise your right hand, spreading your 5 fingers, and suddenly clinch a sword from the void. All the heavens roar with the fiercest of sword energies. That river of faith boils over in an instant. The humiliation and hopes of countless humans compress madly in your palm, ultimately taking shape as a sword miles long, inscribed with chaos on one side, and mountains and rivers on the other, a peerless divine weapon in its complete form. The moment the sword of heaven's barrier appears, every foreign god watching throughout the universe feels a primal terror in their soul. That sword is suppressing the star source law. Impossible, that's our source of power! Countless arrogant alien supremos collapse to the ground in fright, as if witnessing the end of the universe. And Odes, facing this sword directly, is scared out of his mind. Lu Chan, you must not move. He shrieks hysterically, squeezing out the last of his divine power, and forms a vicious seal. The Star Source Law, the God's coexistence shackle. Chains representing the origin of the universe suddenly reach out from the void, binding tightly to every corner of the universe, anchored at several thousand human gathering points. Lu Chan, you don't dare to strike. Odes' face is filled with madness. I've already tied the Star Source Law of the God Realm to the fate of your human race. If you kill me, you'll sever that law. And once it breaks, not only will I die too, but all your people will be wiped out instantly. We'll all go down together. Driven to madness, every human witnessing this throughout the universe is plunged into despair. For their own survival, the gods are taking all mankind hostage. However, faced with this unsolvable deadlock, you only sneer in utter disdain. Odes, you really underestimate me, the Taizhuandao Lord. And you underestimate the backbone of the human race. You grip the sword of heaven's barrier with both hands and lift it high overhead. Flames of gold burning in both eyes, gazing through the stars, looking at your kin bound by the shackles. My fellow people, tell me. Your voice sweeps through like a hurricane. Are you afraid of death? A moment of silence. Then, across the universe, the most earth-shattering roar erupts, broadcast on every new net channel. Deep in the mines, the old white-haired man throws back his head and shouts, not afraid. Young master, do it. This old man has lived enough. In the Colosseum, fighters pound their chests, determined to die together.
taking the God King with them.
I'll die slashing. On countless farms, mothers clutch their children tightly, their eyes filled with resolve. The human race will never be enslaved. Please, young master, strike. Among 1 trillion humans, not one person falters, not one begs for mercy. That overwhelming will to die with no regrets makes even the shackles binding them begin to tremble and crack violently. They've all gone mad, completely mad. Ode stares blankly at all of this, finally realizing just what kind of madness he has provoked. Did you hear that? A trace of moisture glistened at the corner of your eye, Birdbrain, but the smile on your lips was arrogant to the extreme. We humans would rather die standing than live on our knees. But in this world, no one can lay a finger on, even a single human before me. You gripped your sword with both hands, aiming at the terrified odds below you. And behind him, the void connecting to the entire celestial power source, the ultimate move of the primordial sword technique slash of causality. There was no dazzling sword light, no world-shattering explosion. The instant the sword fell, every living being in the universe saw only an incredibly pure black line. That black line directly ignored time and space, ignored the symbiotic shackles, and like slicing tofu, lightly swept through Odds' body. A ripping sound followed, as the black line slashed deep into the universe, striking hard at the Vexi races. Star Source Law core their power source. Crack. Odds stared blankly at the black line across his chest. Not a drop of blood spilled, but his very life force was, by this sword, erased completely from the level of causality. Even the laws themselves were severed. He struggled to spit out his last words. Supreme Lord of the Divine Realm instantly turned into showers of light and was utterly wiped from existence. Strangely, the moment that black line severed the core, all the alien gods in the universe, their noble supervisors, were horrified to discover that the star source power in their bodies was draining away like a losing battle. My power, where is my divine power going? I can't sense the laws anymore. I've become immortal. Help! The slaves are charging at us. The entire alien universe underwent an earth-shattering upheaval because of that single sword of yours. Not only did you eliminate the God King, you also severed the Star Source laws that the alien races depended on with a single strike. The gods fell from their thrones, completely losing their powers. Meanwhile, those human laborers who couldn't sense the Star Source before suddenly bathed in your fortune.
Each saw their strength skyrocket.
Like tigers descending from the mountains, they swung their tools and struck hard at the now powerless aliens. The human resistance across the universe erupted in a thunderous counterattack. On the battlefield of the gods, under torrents of rain-like light, you slowly withdrew the heavenly barrier, stood with hands behind your back, your gray robe billowing in the cosmic gale. Those abyss-like black eyes of yours looked through the live broadcast screen, coldly sweeping across every soul-shocked alien remnant in the universe. Your domineering voice, enough to make eternity bow down, rang like the death knell of a reaper, exploding deep within the soul of every alien. It became the most violent ending to tens of thousands of years of human humiliation. You enjoyed looking down from above, didn't you? A disdainful smirk played at the corner of your lips. Today I'll drag every divine being down from the heavens. As soon as you finished speaking, your words' law itself transformed into a storm sweeping the entire alien universe. Crack, crack. Strangely, the very foundations of the universe's logic completely collapsed. Under countless shocked stares, the most exalted alien race suddenly let out shrill screams. In the blink of an eye, on Sirius, a swaggering wild angel suddenly felt his wings lose all lift. With a loud thud, he fell like a plucked wild chicken and crashed straight into the mud from 10,000 meters in the sky, ending up eating dirt. My power. Where are my holy light laws?
He struggled up, covered in mud.
Staring in terror at his own hands, the once golden veins had somehow become the dull red of immortals. Without the protection of the laws, his supposedly immortal body began to wither and age rapidly. The divine had been turned into mere mortals. Coincidentally, on the Deep Blue or Heart, the Thunder Clan overseer suddenly lashed out with his whip, only to find there was no more lightning on it. But because he used too much force, he twisted his now mortal waist. What's going on? My power is gone. He stared blankly at his hands. At the same time, right in front of him, the human man who'd just been whipped until his flesh was torn slowly lifted his head. To everyone's shock, not only did the winged clan lose their power, even the shackles binding the humans crumbled like scrap metal into dust. A gust of wind blew through. Moments later, in countless minds, millions of human laborers stood up simultaneously. They stared at the trembling winged, the eyes numb for millennia, suddenly erupted with the vengeance of starving wolves. They became weaklings. That young man severed the lifeblood of the gods. It's time for our people to collect their debts. The fury suppressed for tens of thousands of years erupted completely at that moment. With the suppressive power gone, the human race, whose bodies and instincts were forged at the edge of death, instantly unleashed upon these pampered mortals a crushing advantage. Bang! The big man knocked down the Thunder Clan overseer with a single punch. Overseer, you dare rebel. God's help, don't hit my face. Those once arrogant alien races were pinned face down in the dirt by crowds of humans, and ruthlessly ground into it. The roles of hunter and hunted reversed in less than a minute, witnessing the bloodiest reversal in cosmic history. The call for counterattack rang out across every corner of the universe. At this moment, deep within the gods' battlefield, you stood with hands behind your back in the void, not even blinking at the riots sweeping the universe. Karma comes full circle. Retribution never fails. An extreme coldness flashed in your eyes. After 10,000 years at the top, it's time they tasted what it means to struggle in the mud. Suddenly, a subtle spatial fluctuation rippled deep within the void, drawing your attention. You turned your head and saw a half-step god king in black robes, fleeing desperately through spatial fragments. Like a stray dog, he was the only one in the field to barely preserve a trace of his original essence. Despicable demon! You've destroyed my clan's 1,000-year foundation. He knew there was no escape and turned back to roar hatefully. Even if I have to self-destruct, I'll drag you down with my divine core. To hell with you. You couldn't even be bothered to look at him, and casually uttered a word. Vanish. Boom, the law obeyed your command. That guy was still shouting, but fell abruptly silent. His remaining body was wiped away as if by an invisible eraser. He didn't even have time to self-destruct, and was instantly reduced to the tiniest cosmic dust. With just a word, you killed a mighty being in a second. Then you closed your eyes, and your vast divine sense flowed out like mercury. instantly enveloping the entire god's base. Besides crushing god kings, the more important thing was to find someone. You suddenly opened your eyes, an uncharacteristic urgency flashing within. Whoosh, you turned into a streak of blue light, crashing right through the palace foundation, rushing downward, diving straight into the abyssal prison at the lowest level. Just as you entered, a foul stench hit you in the face. At the deepest part of the prison, there was an altar of bones suspended in midair, dangling by tens of thousands of chains of cold iron. At the altar's center, a bony, disheveled man was nailed to a bronze pillar by 9 enormous spikes, each as thick as a mountain. His collarbones were pierced through at their very core, his essence drained nearly dry, just a sack of bones and skin left. With every breath he took, he endured searing flames. Even so,
He didn't utter a single groan.
in his hollow eyes, there still remained unyielding pride and iron will no god king could break. The human race never bows. The man's withered lips moved slightly, whispering hoarsely. At that sound, even you felt like a giant invisible hand gripped your heart, and your eyes instantly turned red. Dad, you cried out in rage, and appeared before the bronze pillar in a flash. That man, tortured beyond recognition, was humanity's brightest genius, your long-missing father. Lu Jiangkang heard your call, and struggled to lift his head. When his dim pupils saw you clearly, this Iron Man who'd never shed a tear, even under God King torture, began trembling all over. Chen he thought he was seeing things. Tears mixed with blood streamed down. Run, this is the highest prison. That old dog Oddswill, get out of here now. Even after all that torture, his first instinct was to use the last of his strength, to shield you. Dad, there's no need to run anymore. You took a deep breath, forcing down the violence in your heart. Then you slowly reached out, letting your fingertips touch the 9 unbreakable spikes. Odds is gone. All the gods and Buddhas. I've crushed them all. Crack, crack. With a casual wave of your hand, the spikes and the entire prison crumbled to dust with a bang. With the supports gone, he fell forward, and you caught him securely in your arms. Dad, your son is late. You stared at his depleted core essence, and a trace of cyan divine light flashed in your eyes. Seat of creation, life and death, from flesh back to bone. Bring him back. A fragment of cyan lotus hovered in your palm, and a power supreme over all creation poured madly into his shattered body. To your surprise, his broken meridians instantly reconnected. His shriveled flesh rapidly filled out before your eyes. Hair that was gray turned instantly black. Even more astounding, the creation power remade his mortal body completely. Within him, it condensed a transcendent Taixu golden core of endless Tao. In just 10 seconds, not only had he recovered to his peak, he even surpassed all cosmic prodigies and stepped into the immortal realm. This power isn't bound by any laws. What kind of force is this? He stared in awe at his powerful hands, then looked at you, immeasurably deep, his entire worldview overturned. You looked at your fully restored father, and finally showed the brightest, most genuine smile. You stepped forward and gave him a big warm hug. Then you turned away, looking at the rising morning sun outside. Your voice wasn't loud, but radiated a domineering spirit that could make all creation yield. Dad, this is the power of the world of immortal cultivation. From now on, in this universe, no one can make us kneel again. 3 years passed in a blink. When you slashed through the laws with your sword, the wheel of history finally crushed the old god era and entered a new age.
Human era.
Deep Blue Star Domain, former royal mining planet of the alien race. Move faster. Didn't you eat? A human teenager, probably in his teens, holding a sword edge emitting a flickering aura, facing downward, shouting angrily at a group of alien laborers carrying iron. Among those laborers are the once lofty angel Holy Sun, elder from the Thunder Clan and the Demon Royal family. But now they're all dressed in rags, blankly swinging hoes and mining. A demon prince collapses from exhaustion. What are you looking at? Do you think you're still royalty?
Now,
You're not even on par with me, a third-level key refinement apprentice. The youth snorts coldly, casually flicks a sword aura from his fingertip, splitting the giant rock next to him in half. Yes, yes, little immortal master, your lesson is right. The demon prince scrambles away in terror, eyes filled with reverence. Actually, this system is completely independent of alien laws, able to move mountains and fill seas just by absorbing spiritual energy. It has completely shattered the last dignity of the aliens. This scene isn't unique. Across billions of planets in the universe, happens every single day. All races bow in submission. Humans rule supreme. What was once mere nourishment is now the sole master of this starry sky. Meanwhile, at the ruins of the former God King Palace in the Universe Center, a primordial giant city rises, 10,000 times grander than before, soaring majestically from the ground. At the core of the Qingshan Yuanbao sits the Saint Truth Hall, the sacred site of the entire universe. At this moment, across the vast Yunwu field, millions of people sit cross-legged, humans from major star domains. A white-clad prodigy, Su Qing'an, floats in midair. 9 flying swords surround him, like an immortal descending to earth, focused and calm, feeling the rhythmic flow of heaven and earth's spiritual energy. His cool voice echoes throughout the venue. Forget your old star source systems. They are merely clumsy methods of borrowing power from the heavens. Cultivators transcend fate itself. True power returns to oneself. It's mentor Su. Millions of proud talents shout in unison. Their voices shake the stars. On the high platform stands Lu Jiankong, now a terrestrial immortal, watching this scene full of vitality. His eyes grow warm. 3 years have passed. He strokes his beard, sighing that all humans across the universe have abandoned star sources and embarked on the path of cultivation. We finally ushered in true peace. An old grand elder walks up to him.
Bows.
Lord Jianquang, all other races have been completely blocked. Jurisdictions have all been divided. Now they're just waiting for that leader to ascend the throne, to rule the entire universe. At the mention of that leader, all millions of talents present. Eyes burst forth with fervent worship. That's their deity. Yet Lu Zhangquang smiles bitterly and shakes his head. To rule the universe.
He points to the vast starry sky.
Do you think just a lower world is big enough for him to sit upon the universe's throne? At this moment, billions of light years from the new Qingshan Yuanbao, the very edge of the universe, where the laws cease, an absolute realm of chaos. Amid the chaos, a starship floats quietly, so huge it's beyond description. The ship incorporates the pinnacle of human science and technology, has 108,000 defensive formations set up. The command deck flickers with tough pulse waves. Armor is forged from remnants of mighty beings. This is the ultimate fortress built with all resources across the universe. On the deck of the Tai Suan, a person in spotless gray stands with hands clasped behind his back. With jet-black eyes, calmly gazes into the bottomless edge of the universe. Master Huang, a white-robed figure tears through space. Appearing behind you, it is Su Qinghai. He looks at you, who single-handedly changed the fate of the universe. Eyes filled with tenderness and reverence. The human army is gathered. 900,000 expedition troops are ready to depart at any time. But will you really not go back to attend the grand ceremony? The entire universe is waiting for your coronation. You can't help but laugh at the idea of being crowned. You slowly turn around. The supreme Tao force flows within your body. Your current level has long since surpassed the limits of this universe. King An, do you think this universe is big? It's huge, he answers without hesitation. Vast and boundless. You couldn't reach its end in a lifetime.
No, it's far too small.
A blazing brilliance like the sun suddenly erupts in your eyes. You lift your head slightly. 3 phantom figures flicker in and out behind you once more. The Commander Tiger Talisman left by your grandfather, the Judgment Sacred Sword left by your grandmother, and the Elven Crown left by your maternal grandmother. As your power returns, you sense these 3 items were never products of this universe. At the edge of the starry sky, there is a grander and even more turbulent multiverse, a realm far more dangerous as well. All those mighty protectors are there. Even fragments of the Creation Lotus platform are quietly calling out to you in the darkness. The old era has ended. The human race's spark has ignited completely. You pat the dust off your gray robe, the corner of your mouth curling into a wild, unrestrained smile. Since I've already become invincible beneath these stars, There's no reason to stay here any longer. You then pull out your long sword with a fierce motion, pointing it at the deepest part of the universe. That's the chaotic abyss leading to the unknown realms. Transmit my command. Your voice echoes through the loudspeaker array, thundering across this invincible fleet. Taixuan sets sail. With an earth-shattering thunder of engines, this giant battleship carrying humanity's mightiest power and endless ambition slowly moves into position. You stand on the deck, the wild wind whipping your black hair, the dazzling starlight of all the worlds reflected in your eyes. You leave the entire universe stirred with a single, passionate declaration. Next, let's see what lies at the end of the universe.